Hello, hello. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. It is Sunday. It is Sunday and it's still an hour from us. Here, at least. Which means I have to work on the text for the schedules again because it's not gonna be correct anymore. Now we're back to GMT plus... What are we back to? GMT plus something. Plus 2? 6 hours ahead again. Ah, yeah. The only good thing about the time change thing is that I usually don't have trouble to get used to it again. And also, at least it's gonna be like light out a little longer now, but here's Sunday. It's already Sunday evening again. This weekend was very packed for me. It's like, what do you mean it's Sunday evening again? I did not really have any time for myself. But that's okay. Maybe next week, man. We are back with more Please Be Happy. And last time we started... You impulse bought a Spank plushie from... Okay, I do not know what that is. Last time we started actually dating Aspen, where we're now in a relationship with Aspen. What the fuck is Hello Spank? Ohio Spunku. Good morning, Spank. Is it a Japanese shoujo manga? Aww. Oh, he's cute though. He's cute. It's okay. It's okay. He's cute. I will give him that role. He's allowed to have that role. He's cute enough. We now have a girlfriend. We have a girlfriend. A girlfriend who's probably gonna make me cry when I try to not do her rude, because like she falls in love with us on the common route and also tells us that, like, okay, what if I don't choose her? I do not want to think about that. So now I'm just gonna be happy, like, that we have her.
Already? Okay, let me grab my keys.
What do you mean already? Already what? Yes! I would like to continue reading the story. They're in lesbians together. We had 41% completion. I wonder what we're gonna get, like, once we go through one ending. Like, maybe... like, the last few percentages don't actually come from the roots. Or, like, the endings, but, like, from the whole go everywhere and get all of the flavor text and stuff, so... It's gonna be fun to get. Not sure if you have to get it for achievements, but I would like to have a 100% completion up there, not gonna lie. New stream times, the cute guys, yes! It's the most adorable gays, we love them. We now have a girlfriend. My wife introduced me to a new addition to the polycule. We now have a girlfriend. This is my wife, and this is my wife's girlfriend. If something happens to them, I will do some bad things. Oh, I'm good. I ate way too much food both yesterday and today. I went into a food coma earlier today. I slept for so long. That's okay. It was great food. That's the best kind of coma. Yeah, that's true. It is. I didn't have to pay a single cent for any of the food. That's even better. Actually, I have another question. Just both Aspen and Juliet, I have 2 different endings. They each have a wild ending and a comfy ending. And we're gonna get all of them anyway, but like, any preferences in which one we should go for first? I have no idea how they differ, though. You gotta wear a dress. You're wearing a dress regardless. Actually, scratch. Also because you're wearing one right now. Ooh. Yeah, no, the weather here is not good right now. It's gonna be like minus something, and they already said that it's gonna snow again next week, so I'm not gonna go get the dresses out anytime soon. Which is sad. I do enjoy myself a good dress. But yeah, where we are at right now is that Miho, I think, is trying to find the other Gumiho again. And ask her about stuff, because we're trying to see if we can find a way for the magic and the curse to not work. We already found out that apparently something like a fucking FaceTiming people with a video call every single evening makes them able to remember her. But still, if you have to do that every single day for everyone you know, just so they don't forget you, like what if someone is just stuck somewhere where they don't have Wi-Fi at some point? Like, it's not good. It's gonna snow, yeah. We love springtime. I really hope it's not gonna snow. I've had enough of the snow for this year, not gonna lie. I want some sun again. At the very edge of the path I transform, nose close to the ground, I head for the tree line and the wild part of the mountain. I'm rusty when it comes to tracking, and the sheer number of scents that assault my nose is overwhelming. I have to sift between them in my head while I run, disregarding the ones that I can tell are humans or other fable, or just part of nature. It isn't until I'm far from any roads or homes that I finally catch what I'm looking for, the familiar but unrecognizable presence. Honing in on what I can detect of Silver's trail, I follow it as closely as I can. I wonder if her name is actually gonna be Silver. Or if that's just because that's just what Miho named her in her head. Sometimes the lead goes cold, but I pick it up again a few meters away in a different direction. The path is windy and hard to follow. How does anyone live like this? It doesn't feel as if the path is leading anywhere in particular, but I stay on it, keeping my eyes and ears peeled for any other sign of her. Finally, after picking up the trail yet again near the river, I follow it until I reach a familiar spot and transform yet again.
No way.
It's been weeks, but traces of my den are still there. The weather has destroyed a lot of it, but the tunnel's only half caved in, and the evidence of the holes where I buried my snacks and supplies remain too. Has Silver been staying here? There aren't any signs of life more recent than mine. Still, her scent ends here as if she just disappeared. Something rustles from over near the collapsed den. Even with the moonlight, it's hard for me to see, so I change back into a fox, straining all my senses to detect anything. I don't. Nothing but me and the wind. Changing forms yet again, I still get the feeling that I'm not alone.
Hello?
Hi! Closing my eyes, I listen for any kind of response, a footstep or a whisper or even a breath. All I hear is silence.
Pitiful.
The voice is just inches from my ear and I leap away on pure instinct, spinning around to face Silver.
I gave you so many chances, and you failed every one of them.
Damn! I don't know where she came from or how I didn't notice her, but she's here, slouching in the moonlight. Although I'm sure that, just like me, she could turn and run at a moment's notice. Or fight. I hope that's not what she wants, because I don't think I'd win. Thank you for the follow!
How'd you do that? Sneak up on me like that, I mean. I didn't even have to try. I see nothing has changed since last time. If anything, the human pet has only gotten more docile.
Yeah, she's not a big fan of humans, I gathered that.
Tell me, do they feed you scraps from a bowl as well?
I'm not a dog.
It's a plate, usually.
She certainly hasn't gotten any nicer since last time. But as harsh as she sounds, she remains at a distance and I let myself relax a little. Her hands are so small. That's actually the one thing I'm a little weirded out about. Like, the art is gorgeous, but for some reason the arms get really thin and tiny. The hands are so tiny. Now that I've had time to get used to her existence, she doesn't seem as intimidating. Even if I was more scared, I wouldn't want to show it like last time. Maybe it's because she reminds me of myself in some ways. Although her arms are crossed, one of her wrists shines in the moonlight from where her bead hangs on a strap. It's almost like looking in a mirror. We're as different as any two people can be, but just by existing, I feel some kind of bond with her. Something wild. Behind her shawl, I can see her eyes narrow.
So you admit it then. Perhaps it's for the best. A dog dreams of nothing more than its master's hand. You can close your eyes, forgetting what made you open them in the first place.
Silver spits out her last words like a challenge, daring me to respond. Her eyes shine like a bead does. But one of mine says anything about me. I don't respond, unsure how. Not because she's made me question myself, but because I don't think she believed what I have to say. It feels like it's been ages, but really it's only been a few months that I've been here in New Zealand. Not even a year ago, didn't I feel the same way she does? Telling myself that I wasn't missing out on anything by being alone, chasing some dream for decades without even stopping to think about it, just dreaming my way through life. How could I tell her that? What could I say that would change her mind? I already know the answer. Oh! But actually, does the whole "oh, you forget who she is" thing just not work because you're both gumiho? There isn't anything. Sometimes there are no right words. Enjoy dinner!
You've forgotten how to speak as well. But tell me, if you can, what was it you hoped to achieve by coming here? I could have left you chasing your tail in the dark if I'd wanted to. But you've somehow made me curious. I fail to imagine the desires of a hound.
I unhook my necklace and hold it in one hand. The pearls make a soft sound as they bang against each other, but my bead clatters loudly against its neighbor. It's still glowing, same as this morning.
Because I wanted to ask you something. If there was some way to stop her magic. Stop people from forgetting about us.
My fingers curl over the bead. I don't even have to see her face to know her reaction. She laughs, just once, and it sounds like a bark.
You managed to surprise me again. I didn't think even you would be so shameless as to try and rid yourself of your gifts. Ignore them, perhaps, but to abandon them. You have outdone yourself, dog. Fitting that you wear it around your neck like a collar.
Yeah, goddamn. It's called a necklace, actually.
I can only guess at what you must mean. Don't think yourself the same as me. My magic is nothing like yours. It takes a different form in every one of our sisters.
Oh!
My sisters, I should say.
Then what does yours do instead?
I don't see why I should tell you that. A dog need not concern itself with affairs above its head.
This dog thing is getting pretty old, you know.
Then leave. I only chose to acknowledge you to satiate my own curiosity. It won't happen a second time. Goodbye, dog.
Me. Quick as a flash, Silver transforms, the glow from her bead lingering for a moment in the air. Before her paws have all touched the ground, she's already running away. Soon, even her shining fur disappears into the night. I don't give chase. I never really expected her to answer my question in the first place. Still, I don't think this visit was a waste of time. Before I leave, I take a final look around my den. When I left here with Juliet months ago, I expected to be back soon, but since I never went back, I never really said goodbye. It wasn't much even then, and it's even less now. Compared to some of the other hideouts I've made, I didn't stay here very long. Still, it's special. I'd have a hard time going back to sleeping in the ground instead of a bed again, even if I had to. Maybe it'll change in the future, but right now, I'm pretty sure that this will be the last den I ever made. Looking around, I'm all alone again and it's silent. The birds that used to chirp and greet me in the morning are either sleeping or gone. Still.
Night-night, birdies.
I whisper a final farewell before changing forms and dashing back to the library. Ah. Okay. The next morning I once again keep my visit with Silver to myself. Breakfast is tasty like usual, and after a good meal, Juliet goes to bed and leaves Aspen and I on our own. I stand up from the table and stretch, expecting Aspen to do the same.
Time to go, huh? Not today, actually. Regina's having me go back to working a mid-shift on some days, so I don't have to go in until noon.
Is that good or bad?
Meaning, I can spend the whole
That's
morning
good.
with you, if you want. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. Just that... Well, never mind. Sorry, just ignore me. I'm a little out of it.
Oh.
It's fine, don't worry. But I can't just ignore you either. What's wrong?
Aspen sighs and then shrugs.
Let's go sit up front and I'll tell you. You need to open the library soon, right?
Yeah? Wanna help?
I'd love to.
Most of the preparations are already done, but we find things to do. I organize the front desk, taking care of some of the clutter, while Aspen does a quick once-over of the shelves and fixes a few out-of-place books. It reminds me a little of my first day working here when Aspen helped out. She's a lot quieter this time, although she keeps herself busy. I wait for her to bring up whatever it is that's on her mind rather than try to nudge it out of her. After a while we sit down behind the desk, where Aspen looks right at home. She casually unpacks her bag, setting aside a small hand mirror and a new notebook. Then she removes an envelope. It has a fancy logo at the top, but not one that I recognize.
This was waiting for me in the mail yesterday.
Oh, is it a response to, you sent in your manuscript, right? Plastic part of the envelope crackles as Aspen removes the piece of paper from inside, frowning as she unfolds it. I watch her eyes move as she reads through it silently before sighing again.
It says, "Dear Ms. Benoit, we appreciate your manuscript submission and commend you for your success in completing a novel.
But sadly, we are not going to take you on.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I do not find that it fits the criteria we're currently searching for, and as such must respectfully decline.
Oh.
Respectfully, Purple Penguin Publications."
Beep beep beep. Slapping her hand with the paper, she clicks her tongue.
That's it. Not even 50 words, including names. I doubt they even read past the first chapter.
Wait, they said no? Why?
As it says, it's not what they're looking for. I wish they would have given more detail than that, but I suppose I'm lucky to hear anything back at all.
Aww.
They're totally gonna regret it in the future when your books are really popular.
I hope you're right. I was prepared for rejections, of course. Even Agatha Christie didn't get published until her second book. Still, I wasn't expecting them to come in so fast.
How many places did you send your manuscript in, though?
You sent it to a few different ones, right?
Right, I made
Yeah.
a list of my top
Oh, okay,
15
okay.
choices and submitted it to all of them.
Okay.
At first, it was going to be my top 10, but I decided maybe I should expand it some. It turns out that was a good idea. So far, 3 of them have already said no. This one stung a bit more because
Aw.
Purple Penguin is one I was hoping would say yes the most.
I'm sorry. I hope your other top choices still work out.
Yes, me too. It's why I wasn't going to tell you and Juliet at first. I wanted to wait until I had good news to share. But I'm not sure that'll be coming.
It's okay, you have like 12 more places.
I'll try not to be a downer, though. I knew there was a good chance this would happen. Don't let me distract you from work, either.
Nah, you won't. Here, look at these.
In an effort to cheer her up, I pull out some of the writing practices I've been working on and show them to Aspen.
Wow, you've improved so much already. This looks great, Miho.
With a genuine smile, Aspen slowly flips through the pages. I know there's not much to see since there's a lot of repeating the same thing over and over, but she still looks at everyone.
Really, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Showing Aspen my attempts to learn how to write Showing Aspen my attempts to learn how to write feel a little silly compared to her finishing a whole novel, but I can tell that she means every word of praise.
I'm proud of myself too.
You should be. I don't tell her that a big part of my motivation is being able to read what she writes. I want it to be a surprise when I get there. From the very start, having Aspen in my life has inspired me to be a better person. Now that we're in love, it makes me want to try at least twice as hard. I want to be able to love her writing too. Even if those penguin people don't like it, I'm sure I will, because it comes from my heart. I believe in Aspen even when she doesn't, just like she's always believed in me. I want to do everything I can to live up to that faith. Aspen sticks around for a while, reading a book from one of the shelves. I keep my nose to the grindstone all morning, using every few minutes that I get to practice, only taking a break to say goodbye to Aspen when she leaves. Even when it gets boring, which doesn't take very long, and even after my hand starts to hurt, I keep practicing. One letter at a time, I'll get there. Oh, I'm so proud of you, Miho! You can do it, I believe in you. Early in the afternoon, my phone buzzes as I get a call. I check it, expecting to see Juliet at Aspen, but I'm surprised and not surprised when I see that it's Lena.
Hello?
Miho, I need your help. It's an emergency.
Uh-oh.
What? What's wrong?
Come to the park. I'll tell you there.
The call ends when Lena hangs up. I have no clue what's going on, but it sounds serious. I put on my shoes and hurry to the park as fast as I can. When I get there, I quickly spot Lena, her bright pink outfit making it easy.
Lena, what's happening?
Oh, Miho, good thing you're here. It's a disaster. Cyrus asked me to be in a play with him.
Isn't that good?
Play? Wait, that's it?
What do you mean, that's it?
I thought you were hurt or something. You said it was an emergency.
It is. I have to give him my answer soon.
Okay, say yes. I sigh and force myself to come down to Lena's level. I was expecting to find out someone was hurt, so I'm just relieved that that's not the case.
Okay, I don't get it. Why is that such a bad thing?
Oh no! The guy I'm trying to go on a date with and hopefully go out with asked me to do something with him. Okay, isn't that a good thing?
I do, but that's a lot of responsibility. He wants me to play Siegfried, and he'd be the White Swan.
That's a very interesting role. What's the word for that? I have no idea.
But that seems a little backwards. Are you afraid you can't do it?
Sort of. I'm afraid that if something went wrong, then
I find it
any
very
chance I
interesting
have.
that the literal bird person is not going to be a swan. I mean, I think she would do a great job as Siegfried as well, but like, she already has the white wings, no? Seeing Lena be so nervous about something is the total opposite of what I'd normally expect from her. Even during the other activities we tried, she always gave it her all.
When do you have to give him an answer?
Right now.
Today! That's why it's an emergency!
When did he ask you?
Whoa, can't you tell him you need longer to think about it?
Well, it's already been
Ah.
a while. I thought I'd make up my mind by now, but I still haven't. What do you think I should do?
I think you should do it. Ah. Just then I noticed Cyrus himself walking up the path towards us.
Oh, there he is.
Lena turns to see him, then looks back to me, afraid.
I'm out of time!
She tries to put on a cool face as Cyrus reaches the two of us.
Hi there. Sorry to bug you, Lena, but have you decided yet?
Not yet. Still thinking about it, sorry!
I mean, you could ask him who the other people in the play are going to be.
It's already been a week.
Nuh-uh, not for another 43 minutes. Then it'll have been a week.
Oh my god. Both Cyrus and I just stare at her.
Can you make up your mind in the next 43 minutes?
I am unsure
You bet I can!
of what he thinks of her, not gonna lie.
Okay. I'll just stand here.
Wait, for real?
Do I look like I'm joking?
No.
I can never really tell.
Cyrus sighs.
Look, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I need to know so I can ask someone else. I already have someone cast for all the other main roles. It's just Siegfried and a couple extras that are left.
Finally, he looks at me.
Sorry to interrupt your conversation.
It's okay. We were just talking about you.
Wait, you know who I am?
Yeah!
Yeah, we've met before. We were partners at that painting class.
Huh. I was trying to remember who I was paired up with. I have the picture I made, but it didn't really help much.
Yeah, that's the magic's fault.
Yeah, I have this magic where people forget about me after a day if I don't talk to them again.
I've had to explain this so many times by now that it just feels normal to talk about.
Really? I think I have that too, except it's not magic. How do you and Lena know each other then?
Look.
We do a vid call every day. I talk about my life and Miho talks about hers.
So far, that's only really half true, but I don't mind.
I see. Say, Miho, right? How would you feel about being a tree?
Sure.
A tree.
Yeah, in the play, I mean. There's still a couple small parts like that I need to fill.
Lena's face lights up with excitement.
If you do it, I'll do it.
Wait.
My immediate reaction is to say no. Being up on a stage in front of people is still a lot for me, no matter how much better I've gotten at talking. But it seems like it would be helping out Lena and Cyrus too. Invite Aspen to be a tree as well. Hey, why are those two trees holding hands? Oh, now they're making out!
Stand there. Haven't you seen a tree before?
That's it.
That's it.
I said a heavy sigh of my life. I hope I don't regret this.
Fine.
Both of them perk up and I see an actual smile on Cyrus's face for maybe the first time ever.
Cool. I appreciate it.
We're gonna be great! You're gonna be the best tree in the play!
And no one's gonna be able to remember.
Rehearsal starts soon. I'll send you both the info. I guess I'll need to talk to you every day too, right?
Yeah, otherwise you'd have to ask me every time.
Oh, let's make a group chat!
Lena instantly pulls out her phone and starts tapping.
I'm not sure.
Done!
I feel my phone shake in my pocket and see Cyrus check his as well.
I guess that works. Anyway, thanks, both of you. See you at rehearsal.
Sure.
See ya!
Bye.
Cyrus takes off, leaving Lena and I by ourselves.
Thanks as well. I feel a lot better having someone else I know be there.
No prob. Although, I'm not so sure about being in front of a crowd. Plus, all the other actors will forget who I am unless I talk to them too.
The other ones would be more problematic with the magic, yeah. It's like, who the fuck is this guy who's playing our main role? Like, huh?
Maybe we can make a really big group
Maybe we don't. I mean, they're not necessarily on the same shift.
Well, I'm sure it'll be fine if you're just gonna be an extra. It'd be a bigger problem if you were gonna have a speaking role.
Yeah, that's true. Have you ever been in a play before?
Not since I was in school, but I know the story and the part, so it should be okay. Now
I
that
don't
I've
actually
decided,
know the
I'm gonna
story.
do my
Like, I know the Barbie movie that's based on Swan Lake, but... Now she seems more like the Lena I know, fiery and full of energy. It was a surprisingly easy emergency to deal with.
In fact, I'm gonna go start practicing. See you soon!
Okay. I wave goodbye as Lena leaves. I'm not entirely sure what I've got myself into, but I guess I'll find out soon enough. You're gonna be the best tree ever. Not long after the sun went down, it started to get pretty cold. Clouds came in out of nowhere and so did the wind. I find myself sitting in the windowsill looking out before I go to sleep for the night. It's cozy in here and I have plenty of extra blankets if I need them. My breath fogs up the window, but the cold stays on the other side. Up on Mount Victoria though, in the trees and valleys, it must be miserable out there. I wonder where Silver is and how she deals with the rain. Does she make a hole and burrow underground like I used to? Or maybe she finds somewhere dry to sneak into like an empty shed or abandoned house. She's rude and abrasive and hasn't said a single nice thing to me. I hope she's safe anyway. As the only other Gumiho I've met, I can't help but care about her just a little. I doubt she feels the same way about me, but it's okay. I wouldn't either in her shoes. Still, I know how bad it feels to be stuck out in the cold with everything turning into mud around you, or shivering under a tree that blocks most, but not all of the rain. Wherever she is, I hope she's warm and dry. I wonder if that's the first time someone's wished that for her. The next day, the rain has stopped, but it's still gross and wet outside. Dreary, as Aspen put it. Still, it's as busy as a day as I've ever seen at the library. My main job is stopping people at the door and getting them to wipe the mud off their shoes before they go in. I care a lot about it because my secondary job is cleaning up mud off the carpet. The door swings open and a big Cyclops stomps in looking around.
Hiya! Welcome to the library. Wipe your feet before you come in.
Pardon? I won't be here long. I don't mean to
A
get in your
Cyclops!
way. I'm just looking for a friend.
Who's your friend?
Oh, no one. I'm sure he'd said he'll be here, but I don't see him.
Huh?
I'll try again later.
A Cyclops. Cyclops with a friend. And no one? Ah!
Oh, okay. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. And I do apologize if I got any dirt on your floor.
You're very nice, Cyclops. Apologizing all the way back out the door, the Cyclops leaves as quickly as he came. The door says shut, which gives me a minute to find some fresh towels and rags. Once the entryway is as tidy as I can get it, I sit down behind the desk to work on my reading and writing. It isn't long before the door swings open again, but it shuts before anyone enters, and then I can hear grumbling from outside.
Come on, Pippa. At least hold the door.
Who's Pippa?
I'm protecting the notebook. You get the door.
Oh.
Here, let me.
Oh my god! Who are you? The poor door pops open one more time and 3 kids in matching uniforms trudge in. 2 of them, including one carrying a notebook, who must be Pippa, look around in awe while the other girl approaches
Hello
me.
there, miss. My name's Cello.
Hi, Shallow.
My friends and I are here in New Zealand for a class trip, and we're supposed to research and put together a project on a special place in Wellington.
Okay.
We were hoping you might have some suggestions for where to start.
You are very well spoken.
Hey, I'm Miho. But, I'm not the best person to ask, really. I've only lived here for a couple months. But I know a couple people who might be able to help. One of them's at work right now. The other one also lives here at the library. But she's asleep right now.
Did you say she lives here?
And did you say also?
Armand, Pippa, please. I'm sorry my 2 friends don't know how to not be so nosy.
They would look it up on their phone. Well, these kids are very old school. Also, the guy on the right, you can see it, Chad is right in front of it, but the guy has 2 sets of ears. Human ears, and then I'm guessing he's some kind of mouse, maybe.
It's fine, it's fine. Julie, she's the one who owns this place. And I both live here. I have a room upstairs.
That sounds like it would be too good to be true. Think about it. You'd have all kinds of books around for inspiration.
Yeah, I can read.
Or just for reading? It'd be impossible to get bored in a place like this.
You'd be surprised. But you guys aren't the first ones to say that.
I would love to live in a library. 2 sets of ears as well, elf ears and cat ears. No one can see the elf ears because your hair covers it.
Is it alright if we look around?
Of course.
It is a library, you know. They're meant for looking around.
It's still polite to ask.
That's also true.
Yep, it's fine. Let me know if you need help finding anything.
We will. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, and I have 6 pairs of ears. Thank you. The noisy pair head off to browse the books. Although they seem like carefree kids, I can tell that they're handling the books with respect, as Juliet would say. The 3rd girl, Cello, stays by the desk.
Ms. Miho? Since you're new here, would it be alright if I ask you a few questions about your
Experiences. I'm so sorry, I cut you off. She also has a notebook with her, although it's smaller than Pippa's. It reminds me of the ones Aspen always carries with her.
Sure, I don't mind. But, like I said, I don't know much about Wellington, or New Zealand at all.
Yeah, I kind of, snuck in on a plane.
That's okay. It's why I wanted to ask. I also haven't lived in Amarina for very long. I'm not even from the underworld.
Ah?
My family and I just moved there, so I don't know it the same way Armand and Pippa do.
Wait, the underworld is just like an actual place somewhere?
I hope that didn't sound weird.
I know what you mean. Don't worry. I'm not from the underworld either. Go ahead. Ask away.
You kinda just moved, I gotta go for within months of coming here. Exactly!
Thank you.
She takes a seat in one of the chairs near me, a tail curling around one of the legs.
Is there anything you wish you'd known before you came here?
Looking out the window, I can see my answer.
I wish I'd known how rainy it was going to be. I wasn't prepared for it at first.
Do you not like the rain? I love it. It reminds me of being home in the ocean.
I mean, yes. That goes without saying. She flaps her tail enthusiastically.
I wish it would rain every day. That was one of the hardest things to get used to when my family moved on shore to Amarina. It's so dry, even with the canals.
I have no idea what that's supposed to be.
Is there anything that makes this city different from others you've been to? Or anything you miss?
It's hard to say. I've made more friends than I have anywhere else. Maybe it's something about the people. Everyone I've met has been really friendly. So, there's not too much that I don't have here.
Oh, that's good to know. It's not always easy for me to talk to people, so I've been worried about doing this report.
You're doing a good job.
I'm the same way. I think you're doing just fine. Thanks, Ms. Miho. Did you ever have a project like this? when
Oh,
you were in school?
School?
Well, I didn't really go to school, so to speak. Were you homeschooled? Something like that. Yeah. Oh, I see. I just have one more question.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite place in Wellington so far?
My favorite place.
Imagine going to school as a mage. Ooh, a favorite. Oh god, wait, I can choose? Well, I mean, arguably, I would say my favorite place is the Bell House because that's where we met Aspen.
There's a cafe I like called the Bell House. I have a friend who works there, actually. The drinks they make are good, and it's a nice place to relax.
That does sound really nice.
I think it's hard to feel like you belong somewhere until you find a special place for yourself.
After writing down all my answers, Cello puts down her pen.
Maybe that's the problem. No matter what, it's going to be hard for us to write if we don't see anything for ourselves. Thanks for answering all my questions. We're going to be here all week, so we'll probably come back with more.
Sure.
Anytime. Good luck with your project.
Thank you. I'll go make sure my friends aren't causing any problems either.
They're not, luckily, and after a while all three of them leave the library again.
Nice kids.
Nice kids. Oh, more stuff in the library. Later that day, while I'm working on my writing worksheets, the door opens and I glance up to see another kid entering the library. This time it's Tommy, accompanied by his dad.
Hey, me! See any cool bugs lately?
Me?
Nope, don't think so. Have you?
Oh,
Yeah, I saw a hoo-hoo beetle. I couldn't catch it, though.
but you saw it.
Oh, that's really neat.
I don't even know what that is.
So you're the famous Miho I keep hearing about, huh?
Yeah, we already met once, actually.
I'm Miho. I don't know about famous.
You're a legend in our households, that's for sure. I've heard all about you from Tommy and Gwen. I'm Elijah, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you already know who I am. We've met before, though.
Have we? I hear that's easy to forget.
Tommy raised a hand to get our attention before we start talking too much.
I'm gonna go look for more spiders again. Bye!
Don't cause any trouble now, okay? And don't touch anything that's gonna bite you back.
I don't know how many bugs could be left in the library at this point, but I don't stop Tommy. I know he's pretty harmless and that I don't need to worry about him. Once Tommy and Gerby leave, I turn my attention back to Elijah.
Anyway, we met each other a while ago at the Botanic Garden. I caught a bug by accident and Tommy wanted it.
Oh, so that was you, was it? I was trying
Yes.
to remember who we were with.
Yes. If you give me your phone number, we could start calling.
So wait, that means that you're the one who can see Tommy's friend Gerby, right?
Yes.
Yep, I can see him right now with Tommy.
The Fabled is next to Tommy like always, helping him search for the eight-legged prey. When he hears me say his name, he gives me a jolly wave like Tommy did.
Huh.
Although Elijah's staring at the same spot I am, I can tell that all he sees is empty space. Elijah pulls out a pen and notebook from his pocket just like I've seen Aspen do. He clicks the pen into writing mode.
What's he look like, if you don't mind?
He's got a white face and body with purple flower petals on his head and shoulders. And some green leaves for his hair.
You want to draw him?
He has eyes but not a mouth. And he floats.
Nodding, Elijah writes down everything I said.
That's exactly how Tommy described him. Wow.
Why didn't you think he was real? There's all kinds of Fabled, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's just... Did you have an imaginary friend when you were younger?
I'm not gonna answer that. I shake my head.
Well, I did. And Tommy's the kind of boy who would have one too. Not that Gwen and I thought that was a bad thing, of course, but Since no one else could see him, we thought he was just pretend. Hearing he's real is still a shock.
Across the room from us, Tommy's creeping around on tiptoes. Gerby floats high above, using his aerial position to get a better view.
I'm glad, though. Real glad. In fact, that's why I'm here. I want to try and see if I can find anything in the books about a fabled like it.
Well, I mean, that just... At least Tommy has some good parents for once. Good parents in a video game? Wow.
Not sure why you're able to see him either. Other fabled haven't been able to. You're the first person I've ever met who can.
You have returned, welcome back! It's like, I mean, the parents are getting divorced, but that doesn't make them bad parents. That just, actually, that just makes them more responsible, being like, okay, you know, we don't work together anymore, but we still want the best for our child. That's good. He frowns.
Unless I forgot them too. I need to write that down.
Elijah's pen scratches against the paper. In a quiet library, I can hear the sound clearly. Elijah seems pretty casual and relaxed, and so I feel like I can ask him a question that's been weighing on my mind. One that I know isn't exactly polite to ask. Like 4 chilies, no pun. Oh, spicy.
Hey, can I ask you something?
I'm an open book.
Why are you and Gwen getting divorced? I mean...
Ooh, she's actually gonna ask about the divorce.
You seem like you get along.
Thank you for the hypey time. Yeah, they don't have... Yeah, it's like no one's forcing you to stay together if you don't have feelings like that anymore. Like, that's a healthy step to take. I'm just glad they both care for Tommy a lot. The scratching abruptly stops. He taps the pen against the edge of his notebook a couple times while he chews his tongue.
Because people just change. Sometimes in different ways. Well, don't get me wrong, she's still one of the best people I know. We're just better off not being together.
Yeah, okay.
It hurts, but if we'd stayed married, it just would have hurt more. Eventually, you have to rip that bandage off. It's for the best for all 3 of us. I mean, Gwen works her butt off for him too. Me and her both still have the same goal, and that's to do right by our kid.
That seems rough for Tommy.
I think it would be rough for him if they pretended that everything is fine.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. We're all still getting used to it, I think. You know what they say about time healing wounds? Well, I'm glad he's got a friend after all. Thanks for letting him play here too. I hope he's not too much trouble.
Nah, he's good.
Nah, if he was, I wouldn't let him come back.
Elijah laughs.
That's good to know. I'm gonna go get a start on that research. With any luck, you'll see me again soon with a few books to check out.
All right.
Good luck.
So many of the people I know do research. I never realized that was such a popular hobby. After a while, Elijah returns to the desk like he promised, with a couple books in his hands. One of them is so thick, even Aspen would think twice about trying to read it.
Alright, I only skimmed through these, but they seem promising. So I'll take them home and have a look.
Okay.
I managed to find a picture of another fabled who looks kind of like what you were describing. It seems like they're not from the underworld, so there's not a whole lot known about them. Would you mind if we keep in touch? Gwen tells me that's the way to not forget you.
Sure.
Sure, that's fine. Just call me in the morning or night.
I'm already adding swapping numbers with a lot more people than I expected. Probably more than Juliet herself even expected. This time as all of them leave, Gerby comes over and lands on the desk in front of me. He waves his petals at me before spinning in a circle like a top. Then he bows and hurries off after Tommy.
Another fabled from somewhere else.
Gerby may be a mystery, but for Tommy's sake, I'm glad he's around. That was a sudden black screen, what the hell?
Ourselves, finally! This has been one of the busiest weeks of my life.
Mine too. But in a good way.
Nice.
Of course. The best way.
Along with just each other in the library, Aspen slides her chair closer so she can just kiss my cheek.
What do you want to do today? The world is our oyster.
I have never understood that saying.
Oysters. Wanna get lunch?
We just finished breakfast.
Also?
It's never too early to start thinking about lunch.
Laughing, Aspen stands up and offers me her hand.
It's a little early for that, but I could do with some fresh air. Care to join me for a walk?
Sure. I hope Mio sets a time for the latest call. Imagine someone just calls like 11:59. Just so it's right before the end of the day. Do I mean technically they just need to call in 24 hours ever since last seeing them. So since she saw Elijah sometime during the early afternoon, it would be fine if he calls her early afternoon, sometime before the early afternoon next day.
Sure.
Not
I'll go
necessarily
anywhere you want.
during the evening. But better safe than sorry, I guess. Her hand squeezes mine as we step outside into the daylight. Everything feels different and new when I'm with Aspen now. Something as simple as walking down the hill from the library, something I've done almost every day for months now, feels more special with her next to me. I'd been expecting falling in love to be harder, or something I have to push myself to do. I've been surprised by how easy it is. Like a dam that had been holding back a river, since I let myself open up to the possibility of being in love, the rest has come naturally. Simply existing around her feels nice. I meant it when I said I'd go anywhere she wanted.
It's been a while since I've seen the ocean. How about a walk to the waterfront?
Sure.
Sounds good. That's where the oysters are, after all.
Not quite what I was thinking, but close enough. Let's see if I can remember how to get there.
Oh, I know the way. Want me to lead?
By all means.
I take us towards Mount Victoria and the beach. Other people smile or nod or wave as we pass them by, sometimes with a word of greeting too.
I can't believe you've only been here a fraction of the time I have, but you already know your way around so much better than I do.
Well, I mean, frankly, Miho has more time to actually get around. Someone to make wake-up calls. Oh, I've asked friends to do that sometimes. Like when I have stuff to do on the weekends and I stay up long anyway, and I'm like, please call me just to make sure I'm awake. Because I don't trust myself in actually waking up with my alarms. It's the same because oysters have pearls in them, so saying that the world is the oyster, it's time to open it up and find your pearl, the beauty within the world. Aha! So I've always been like, the world is your oyster. Okay. Thank you.
I used a lot of that time to learn. Besides, navigating is second nature for me. I can do it without trying.
I'm glad, because I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned, but I'm terrible with directions myself.
Aw. I'm terrible with directions in games, but in real life I can do it quite well.
It's a good thing you offered to lead, because I was about to take us in the other direction.
That would have been fun too. Even a surprise for both of us.
Yay!
Yes, and for whatever poor person whose yard we wander into.
Don't worry. That's something else I'm good at. Not getting
You're horrible with directions. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, in-game maps or whatever always make me lose my mind. But I can be in a completely new town, city, or a completely new country I've never been to before, and it works out fine. Like, I did not have problems navigating literally anywhere in Japan. If I just, like, looked up where it is I wanted to go, and then I could get there without a problem. But meanwhile, video game is like, please walk 200 meters straight ahead. I'm like, what? Aspen loves.
Maybe I'd be better at it than navigating, at least. Do you ever miss it? That life, I mean.
Nah.
She glances at me in surprise.
That was awfully quick. You didn't even have to think about it.
I've thought about it a lot, actually. Almost all the time for a while. But even though there are things that I miss, there are too many things that I have now that I couldn't give up. Like this.
I stop walking for a second so that I can kiss her cheek like she did to me this morning.
Very true. You better not give that up. Still, you've got to avoid things like going to work or paying bills and all the other little things that most people wish they could run away from.
I mean, she's still not paying any bills, is she?
People like you?
Absolutely people like me. I first fell in love with reading because it was an escape from the real world.
I love them. They're
A
so
distraction
cute.
from being alone or sad. Or even if I couldn't live an exciting life, at least I could experience one through someone else's eyes and words. In those stories, there were often characters who remind me of you. Going wherever they please, doing whatever their hearts tell them to. Having wished so desperately to go from my normal, boring life to one of adventure, I would certainly understand if you ever wanted to go back to it.
I shake my head.
You've got it all wrong. What you just said about going where I want or following my heart, I'm doing both of those things right now.
Ooh.
We're not too far from the water, but we're even closer to Mount Victoria. Looking up towards its top, I have an idea.
Do you mind if we go up the mountain a little bit? I want to show you something.
The mountain? I'm not exactly dressed for hiking, or built for it.
It's okay, we can just follow the street.
That's fine. It's not a hike. It's pretty easy to get to.
All right, well, I'm up for it. Lead the way. Again.
We take the regular trail up towards the top, but before we reach the summit, I lead us off the path.
This way.
I can see the curiosity on Aspen's face, but she doesn't question me. It'll be easy to just show her anyway. It's slower as a human than as a fox, but it doesn't take us long to reach our destination.
Ta-da! Here we are.
And this is... where?
Home sweet home. Or at least it was.
My den is in even worse condition now than it was last time I came. I actually have to spend a moment looking for the exact spot. Once I find it, I move aside some of the brush that's built up over the heap of mud.
This was my den. I lived here until Juliet let me move into the library. I buried food that I stole in the ground to save it for later, so everything was at least a little dirty. And when it rained, my ceiling would turn into my floor. Still, it was one of the nicer dens I've made, if I do say so myself. And I've made a lot of dens. But
Howdy room!
now that I've had my own bed, pillows and stuff, it'd be hard to sleep in a hole in the ground again.
And thank you for the solidarity. Looking around, Aspen nods. She picks up a branch that's fallen halfway into the collapsed burrow.
I do love what you've done with the place, though. Ceiling on the floor, or not.
Well, if you ever need a break from your apartment...
We both laugh and I hope that Aspen believes me. The same way that she feels about me, I feel about her. She paces around a little bit, exploring the area. Not that there's much to see. Eventually, she returns to my side.
Thank you for showing me all the same. Even if it's better, I know it can't be easy to just turn your life around 100%.
There are things I miss sometimes, but trust me, I like what I have now way more. If I didn't want to be with you, I wouldn't be. I'm really good at running away from things I don't like.
You sure are.
I'm not going anywhere.
I have seen that for myself. It's true.
Exactly. So I mean everything I say to you. Everything.
I don't mind at all, but standing with her next to what used to be my den, it feels like a strange collision of my past and present. It's taken some getting used to, and there's still things that surprise me or that are tough to deal with within my everyday life. When I dug this hole, I never would have guessed it would be the last time. Before Aspen and before Wellington, I never had anything else to go back to. But being here and seeing what I did leave behind, I don't regret that life, but I don't miss it. Every day is better with Aspen in it, and Juliet as well. I just have to do my best to make sure that's true for them too. Judging by the way Aspen holds my hand as we go back down the mountain, and the way she laughs at my dumb jokes, I feel like I'm doing an okay job so far. That's nice. Just get a room, you two. I mean, technically, they have at least one room. Alright, it's another map choice. Where have we not been to? We could go to the... I don't think I've ever went to the Bell House. Let's see. Something feels weird in the Bell House today, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Could it be? Did they redecorate, or is there someone watching me? Is there a gas leak? No, maybe you're there while Aspen isn't working. Maybe that's what's different. Wait, I think I got it. All the other patrons are reading books, like proper paper books, not just fake books on their computers. Fake books! Covers are all the same style, so it occurs to me that maybe these are all students doing assigned readings or cramming for a test. Phew, I'm so glad I don't have to go to school. Still, though, being the only person without a book is making me feel kind of left out. Maybe I'll go hold a book for a while at the library to feel better. Alright. Sure, you do that. See if it makes you feel better. Only a few days after I agreed to be in a play with Lena and Cyrus, it's time for the first rehearsal. Even though I'm not going to be as involved in it as they are, I still want to see what everything is like. I head to the park and find the area that's been set up to practice. When I get there, I find a bunch of people waiting, more than at any of the other activities I've tried with Lena. Most of them are reading through thick packets of paper, standing alone or in small groups. Lena's one of the people on her own until I go and join her.
Hey, Miho! Ready to be a tree?
Yeah.
As ready as I'll ever be. What
Me?
Nope.
Nervous? No way!
You sound like you're nervous.
So that only happens when it comes to Cyrus, huh?
Maybe just a little. That's different, though. Hey, you should go find him and get a copy of the script, too.
It isn't hard to locate Cyrus. He's surrounded by a few boxes of props, snacks, and other supplies. Like Lena promised, or maybe threatened, he's been included in our check-in calls to make sure he remembers me. He nods when he sees me approaching.
Oh, it's my favorite tree.
Oh! Maybe put a little more intonation in your sentences next time so I can tell what you like, whether you're actually happy to see me or not.
Hey! Lena said I should get a copy of the script.
That's a pretty good idea. Let me find yours.
I thought we don't have text. He digs through a bunch of copies of the script until he finds one with my name on
Here
it.
you go. I marked all the parts where you'll be
Oh,
on
okay.
stage.
Right. We do still need to know when to be on stage. Even without having a role that speaking. Right. My bad. Have not done any theater in a long time. I flip through the pages. A few sections are circled in red pen. I'm glad he did that because it'd take me a long time to read through the whole thing on my own.
Feel free to relax for today. We'll do some dry reads and not much else.
Random 3 walking through.
Okay,
3.
I can do that.
3 walking through. I wander back to Lena, who's boldly speaking to no one.
But Mother, today is my birthday. It's not necessary to...
His performance is a little wooden. Yeah. His acting feels a little stale. She stops shaking her head.
Maybe a bit more whiny. Oh, Miho! Tell me which one you think sounds better.
Okay. She repeats the line she was just practicing twice. Just like when she made a drink to compete with Aspen, I have a hard time telling the difference.
The second one.
Okay, I thought so too.
Nice.
In ballet, you don't have to worry about talking or sounding good. This is harder than I thought.
If he branches out and leaves his comfort zone, I think he'll be fine. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm not gonna try to one-up you when it comes to puns. Thank you for your time in the past.
Have you done the ballet version before?
Nah, but I've seen others perform it 1,000,000 times.
I mean, yeah, it's Swan Lake. That's one of the ballets that everyone knows.
I'm sure I'd end up doing it someday if I'd stuck with ballet.
Why'd you quit? I never really got the chance to ask before.
Lena looks off into the distance, seeming unusually serious. Her wings sag and she bites her lip.
It's kind of complicated.
You don't have to if you don't want to talk about it, but I'm here to listen.
Mostly because my parents really wanted me to do it. Like, really wanted. Ballet or dancing or anything like that.
Okay.
But I'm just like, hello? Can you get any more cliche than a swan girl doing ballet? Or any of that stuff? That's one of the reasons I wasn't sure about saying yes to Cyrus.
You are a swan, but yet you're not the main... I see.
I don't get it. What's so bad about that?
They're always like, do this, do that, it's tradition, it's expected, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to live my life like that, you know? I want to do my own thing.
That makes sense.
So you quit ballet because you don't like it?
I do like ballet, and I'm good at it too. But if I kept doing it, it wouldn't be for myself. Does that make sense?
It does, it does. I get it. I get it.
I think so.
It reminds me of some of the conversations I've had with Aspen and Juliet, where they encourage me to do things for myself. Lena's in the same situation, but from a different angle.
Anyway, now that I've said yes to doing this, I'll do my best. I've got to be the best actor in the whole performance.
Alright. That sounds more like the Lena I know. I let her practice her lines to me, sometimes saying the lines for other characters if she asks for it. Eventually, Cyrus calls everyone together to do some parts as a group. I sit on the sidelines and watch. Both Lena and Cyrus give it their all, just like Lena promised. Some of the other actors sound a little bored or unsure of themselves, but those two don't have any issues. After a while, Cyrus calls an end to the rehearsal and we all go our separate ways until next time. Aw man, I hope that's gonna be a good show. Oh, you guys again! The first guests of the day are the school kids from last Friday. They enter one at a time, not struggling with the door this time. The girl I talked to before, Cello, comes over to the desk.
Good morning, Ms. Miho.
Hi!
Morning. How'd your project go? We're still working on it.
Oh?
Some of us are. Some of us just want to wander around.
Oh?
It's not wandering if you have a destination.
Around isn't a destination.
They remind me of Lena and Aspen. Cello sighs and rubs her face. She must have to put up with this a lot.
Well, that's why I wanted to come ask for Ms. Miho's advice again.
Again?
Yeah, have you met her before?
Oh yeah!
What? She helped us just a couple days ago.
Pip and Almond look at each other confused. Even with her back to me, I can tell Cello is too. I've gotten so used to my friends remembering me that I didn't even think of how weird it was for Cello to remember. Me too! What the fuck? As strange as it is, it just feels like another mystery instead of a life-changing event. Another question that I can answer. In other words, not worth dwelling on. No! Huh? Why is she exempt? Why does she remember? I just shrug at Cello and smile, the same way I've seen Aspen do sometimes.
It's fine. It's just a thing that happened.
The heck? Thank you for the pasta check. What does she remember? We didn't talk that much more than anyone else did. And there was an entire weekend between. The young mermaid doesn't look totally convinced, but she nods all the same. I've also seen Aspen do that plenty of times too.
Well, if it's fine with you, I had another question to ask.
Ask away.
Last time, you told me about your favorite place. Are there any other spots in Wellington that you like?
She looks back at her friends, who are both distracted by some of the library decorations.
We're having trouble settling on a topic.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I know.
The girl Pippa hurries over to the desk. I didn't even think she was listening.
Do you think you could show us around town?
Me?
Pippa?
That's a lot to ask, don't you think?
No, 3 of them are at my desk.
She can say no.
She's working. She can't just get up and leave.
Actually...
There still aren't any other patrons yet. I don't think Juliet would mind as long as I come back.
I can't spend all day, but I can show you a couple places.
Ooh.
Really? Are you sure?
Yep.
All 3 of them look at each other, then grin in unison. The first place I take them to is the top of Mount Victoria.
This was one of the first places I went to when I came to Wellington.
It's so beautiful.
Cello and Almond both stand at the railing looking out at the city the same way I first did. I wonder if they're feeling any of the same things I did. Pippa's right behind them with a notebook in one hand and a pencil in the other. At first I think she's writing like Aspen would be, but when I walk a bit closer I see that she's drawing instead. In a few quick strokes, she sketches out the shape of the railing and the slope of the mountain. A few scribbled boxes turn into buildings and houses.
Ooh, you're really good.
Pippa's head jerks up, surprised.
Thanks.
Despite saying that, her face turns red and she snaps the book shut.
Oh, look at this!
Both Pip and I turn to see Armin and Cello standing by the binoculars. Cello puts her eyes to them and then pulls back, frowning.
I can't see anything.
You need to put money in there.
Oh, here.
I fish around in my pockets until I find a couple coins and hand them to Armin.
Thanks.
He feeds them into the machine and Cello's able to look around.
Whoa.
She pans slowly from side to side before letting Armin have a turn. He looks all over, bouncing the lens up and down.
Pippa, do you want to try?
For a second she considers it, but then Pippa shakes her head.
Fine. Let's see something else.
Oh? Next we walk down to the waterfront where the market is. The sea is as blue as I've ever seen it.
Oh, it would be nice to go for a swim.
Maybe for some of us.
Is there an ocean near where you guys are from?
Oh no, but there's a giant lake and tons of canals. Cello spends basically all of her time in them.
She is a mermaid.
I'd rather take a boat than an airship when possible. Even if it's slower.
You would have swam all the way here if you could.
So, there's just something about being on your own with the ocean. When you feel like you belong. What if we did our project about this beach?
I definitely don't belong in the ocean.
What are
Can we
you?
pick something else?
Like he has wings and stuff. But what?
I'm with Armand on this one. It's
Oh.
the same as any other ocean.
I also pronounced his name wrong.
You guys just can't see it, I guess.
Although she looks a little disappointed, Cello keeps going with a shrug and smile. We take my usual path and end up back at Cuba Street. Like always, it's alive with all sorts of people doing all sorts of things. As we're walking, Armand suddenly stops dead in his tracks and points.
Are those movie cameras? Are they filming something?
Without waiting for an answer, he runs off towards a corner of the street that's fenced off.
Huh. That fence wasn't here before.
Armand comes to a stop against the fence and wraps his fingers around one of the links. Sure enough, there's a whole crew of people operating cameras and other gear.
Whoa, they really are making a movie.
What do you think it'll be about?
Few people sitting on a bench across the street are dressed in costumes, although it looks like they're taking a break. One of them carries a big staff and another one is messing with the necklace that he's wearing. Most of them have swords at their sides.
Some kind of documentary, maybe?
A documentary.
Maybe.
A burly man with a short mustache notices us and stomps in our direction.
Hey, you kids, scram! Get out of here!
Aww.
But we were just...
Yeah, I don't care what you were just doing. Move it!
What's your problem, huh? Disappointed, all four of us head back to a more crowded part of the street. I glance over my shoulder to see if the guy who yelled at us is still watching. He is, and he makes a grumpy gesture at me and I turn back around. Sometimes I remember why I used to not like humans.
What a jerk.
Yeah. Sorry, Armand.
Oh, it's okay. I got to see a little bit at least.
His voice comes out kind of shaky, like maybe it isn't okay, but I don't think he'd want us to point that out. I might know a way to cheer them all up.
Okay, one more stop.
The familiar ring of the bell house's door greets us as we walk in. I hold the door for the three kids who all trail in.
Hello, and welcome to... Miho?
Miho?
Welcome to the rest of them too.
Oh yes, of course. Welcome to the Bell House.
Pippa looks from Aspen to me and then back.
Are you two dating?
What? Huh?
Huh? How could you tell?
Pippa shrugs.
Just can't.
What the fuck?
Well, yes, we are. That's why I was rather surprised to see my girlfriend. You must be the students here from out of town, right?
Immediately gets clogged. I know what you are.
Yes, that's right.
You already knew about us?
Well, yeah.
I heard a bit from Miho. Anyway, it's nice to meet you. What would you like to drink?
Aspen, I think you need to stop giving out so much stuff on the house. I think your boss is not gonna be happy about that anytime soon.
That means it's free. Yeah, I know what on the house means.
Pippa gives me a strange look.
I know what it means.
Aspen bites her lip to keep from laughing, but I can see it in her eyes and smile too. The three kids place their orders and then go sit down while I stay at the counter.
Babysitter for a day?
They wanted me to show them around town a little bit. I need to get back to the library soon, though.
A guided tour of Wellington from Miho? How can I sign up?
Just ask. Although, your boss might not be as happy about you skipping work as mine.
True. Maybe I should take that store position after all, so I can make my own hours.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. Are you still thinking about whether or not to do it?
Yes, it's practically all I can think about when I'm here.
Next
I have to
month.
give Regina an answer by next month, though. I'll talk to you about it later, though. What would you like to drink?
Surprise me?
All right.
Surprise me?
Okay, see you soon.
While she goes into the back, I sit down at a table in the corner with the 3 students. The cafe is fairly busy, with many of the tables populated by humans and fabled alike. Our area is relatively empty, though. Pippa has her notebook in her lap and looks to be drawing again, although she angles the book so no one can see it.
Thanks for taking us around today, Miss Miho.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure we should be able to settle on a topic after this, right?
Amon nods on Cello's withering glare.
Right.
Pippa, on the other hand, doesn't seem to notice. She's fully absorbed in whatever she's working on.
Pippa, did you have any ideas?
No response. Sighing, Cello just rests her hat on the table instead of trying to get Pippa's attention again.
I still think we should just make it about the ocean.
Pippa's kind of right, though. It's hard to make the ocean seem special. What about the movie crew? Just without that guy at the end.
You don't even know what movie that is. Also, that guy was really mad.
But would that really be showing Wellington itself?
Maybe not.
For a moment, everything is silent in our corner other than the scratch of Pippa's pencil. Then she smacks that down onto the table and turns her notebook around for us to see.
Look!
Even as a sketch, it's easy to identify the bell house. There are a few changes like the plants and decorations, but it's still unmistakable. She's drawn it from the outside with an overhead view right beside it. In there are the tables populated by people that I hope aren't supposed to be us.
Wow, Pippa!
May I see it?
Pippa reluctantly hands the notebook to Cello, who holds it so I can see better too. The bell house isn't the only thing she drew, though. Part of the street outside is shown, including some sketches of statues and storefronts that we walked past. Across from her, Pippa waits anxiously.
I thought that a coffee shop might show it best.
Oh.
How all the different kinds of people exist here.
Hmm.
It's a place that everyone loves, no matter where you came from. At least, that's what I was thinking.
That's very
I
cute.
think that's beautiful.
Oh. Aspen's shoes click against the floor as she approaches us with a tray balanced on her hand. Stopping at our table, she picks up the first of 3 drinks and hands it to Pippa.
Sorry, I couldn't help but overhear. But I often think of the Bell House the same way. It's something I love about this place.
Aww.
In fact, I first met Miho here.
Pippa's eyes go wide.
Destiny?
I've wondered the same.
Cello sets the notebook down on the table before taking a sip of her drink. Her eyes light up when she does.
Whoa, this is really good.
Amon nods vigorously in
I'm
agreement.
so glad you like them. Miho, I forgot your drink at the bar. Would you like to come get it?
Oh, sure.
Behind me, I'm pretty sure all 3 of the kids snicker amusedly. At the counter, Aspen hands me a steaming cup. I breathe in the scent and try to identify, but I can't.
What's in it?
A surprise, remember? Tell me what you think.
I take a small sip, being careful not to burn my mouth. At once, a variety of flavors melt together. There's chocolate for sure, but not overly sweet chocolate. And there's also coffee, but it's not too bitter. On top of all that, there's another taste, one that I recognize but can't place.
I love it!
Phew, I was afraid I may have used too much chocolate.
Nah, everything was perfect. But what's in it besides coffee and cocoa?
Not cocoa, real melted dark chocolate. We usually only put shaving on drinks, but this was a special one.
Ooh.
The other flavour is lavender. Sometimes people don't like the flowery taste, but I thought you might enjoy it.
Definitely. What's it called?
She is spoiling her.
It doesn't have a name yet, actually. I'll try to think of one. In the meantime,
What's the other flavor?
Love. My love for you.
I take another sip as good as the
May I
first.
try it?
Of course.
Indirect kiss. I pass the cup to Aspen, who stares at it for just a moment before pressing it to her lips.
Wow, that is perfect. If I do say so myself.
She takes another sip.
Hey! Don't drink it all!
Chuckling, Aspen returns the beverage.
Sorry. I'll make my own on my break.
Is that soon?
Unfortunately not. In fact, I should get back to work before 2 a.m. If Lena catches me, I'll never hear the end of it. Literally.
Alright. I won't keep distracting you then. I should get back to the library. Although...
I look back at the kids who are all hovering over Pippa's notebook as she sketches more.
It's fine, they can stay here. I don't think there'll be any trouble, and I'm sure it'll be easier for them to get back to their class.
You sure? Thanks.
Of course. Talk to you later?
Of course.
Aww. I don't know. I think I've done all of them at some point. But there's probably different events depending on the day, so let's try the park. The park is empty today, aside from the strange sight of 2 girls in bright uniforms doing all kinds of stretches and jumps. I'm not sure what the uniforms are for, but they seem to be practicing for something. They pick up pairs of strange fluffy things, one in each hand, and start doing a routine in sync. It's sort of like a dance, but there's no music. Is this some kind of sport I've never seen before? Or the cheerleading, probably. To my surprise, they end the routine with one girl doing a cartwheel and flipping over the back of the other girl. Even I have to be impressed, and I nearly clap on reflex, forgetting that I'm just a silent observer. They also seem satisfied with their performance as they pack up and leave for the day. Now I'm curious. When I'm a fox, jumping around is no problem, but this body's much less capable. Am I able to do a cartwheel too? I don't think I've ever tried it before. I pictured the practicing girls in my head a few times, trying to trace the nuances of the movements with my mind's eye. It seems simple enough, just getting a forward momentum. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I found myself flat on the ground rather than elegantly landing on my feet. Whatever, I'm no athlete, I'm just gonna take a nap down here instead. Aw, mijo! She tried. That night, as I'm laying in bed watching TV, my phone buzzes on the windowsill, startling me. It's Aspen. Oh, hey!
Hello?
Miho, I didn't wake you, did I?
No?
Nah, I was still up. But I thought you went to bed hours ago. Is everything okay?
I did, yes, and I'm fine. I woke up to get some water and saw that I had an email.
Oh?
And after I read it, I couldn't wait to tell
Did you get a yes?
Are you ready?
Yeah?
Sure.
She clears her throat and gulps down some water before she starts.
Dear Ms. Benoit, we've read your draft and we're very impressed with what we've seen so far.
Okay.
At the moment, it's a couple steps away from being what we're looking for, but we'd like to fix that. One of our representatives will be in the Wellington area this Friday. Would you be available for dinner to discuss more? Best regards, Avery Frost, editor.
Ooh! I pulled up right in bed as if Aspen were here telling me in person.
Whoa. So they're gonna do it? They're gonna publish your book?
Well, it sounds like there are still some details to be worked out, but...
Congratulations!
It's a good thing Julie doesn't sleep during the night. I can hear love through the phone and can't keep a grin on my face. Let's go!
Thank you. Wait a moment, I'm not dreaming, am I?
Nope.
Good. Lately I keep thinking that my life has been going far too well, and surely I'll have to wake up soon and find that none of it was real.
No way.
Let's hope the meeting actually goes over well.
Like maybe
I mean,
go back to bed.
she wouldn't send it to like unserious places, so them asking for dinner to hash out details, I think that's gonna be like an actual good offer.
Probably. I'm not sure I'll be able to fall asleep again though.
Wanna come over? Juliet's awake too.
Her life isn't going well, it's going Wellington! She laughs again.
Tempting, but I shouldn't. Tomorrow though, after I get off work.
Okay.
We're gonna celebrate?
Damn right we are. Let's go somewhere, just the two of us.
Okay.
Sure. Like where?
Dunno. Figure it out when we get there.
Of course. See you at breakfast then?
Aspen yawns, causing me to yawn too. And me. Me too. Me three, actually. Fuck off.
Alright, I get the message. Good night, Miho. I love you.
Love you too.
I love you too. Good night.
Settling back down into bed, I can't keep a smile off my face even as my eyes get heavier. If anyone deserves some good news, it's Aspen. I'm so glad she can stop worrying so much now. Oh yeah, baby! I cannot wait to go through all of these maps just to check every area and see if there's anything different happening then. There's an old saying, if two people or a couple yawn together, it means they love each other very much. Aww. I did not actually know. No. It's rare for me, but the sun is cozy enough that it seduces me into napping on the beach. I have a warm, formless dream that carries me away as lazily as a gentle lapping of water on the shore. And I wake up covered in sand. Like, totally covered. Like, I think someone tried to bury me. Oh no, that's the same text. That's the same text we got some other time we were at the beach. When I look around for perpetrators, sure enough, two guilty-looking children with shovels shake and run away giggling. Well, thanks for the blanket, I guess? Also, maybe I don't have to check for every single time we have that option, but I'll you know, just in case, I'll make those saves. The grand entrance of the Botanic Gardens is pretty impressive, decorated with flowers and trees and more. It's even closer to the wilds I remember than Mount Victoria's forests are.
Of course, last time I was rather distracted by the circumstances.
Oh, I don't know what you mean.
Is that why you want to come back?
Yes, this time. I intend to enjoy it to its fullest.
Sounds good. After meeting up with Aspen at the Bell House, we took a bus to get here. It dropped us off at the same gate that Juliet and I arrived at last time. Hand in hand like always, we drift like bumblebees from flower patch to flower patch. Aspen stops to admire the plants and I admire Aspen. Thinking that Ima really seems to have cheered her up. There's a bounce in every step we take together.
What kind of flowers are those?
I have no idea. They're pretty though, aren't they?
They sure are.
Like a flower, when I saw Aspen for the first time all those months ago, I thought she was pretty, but the colorful petals at our feet can't actually compare to her. That rainy day in the library, she didn't even know I was there. I never could have imagined how our lives would intertwine from then on. But it's everything we've been through since then, all the things I've come to learn and know about her that make her beautiful. We both talked about that day and everything after a lot. Still, I don't get tired of thinking or hearing about it. Every day just makes me appreciate her more. Turning away from the flowers, Aspen sees me looking at her and tilts her head.
What are you smiling about all of a sudden?
Yeah, just appreciating how cute you are.
You!
Earning myself a kiss on the cheek, we resume our journey through the gardens. The winding road takes us past more flowers through forests and across ponds. Everywhere you look, there's somewhere new to see. Something new to see. For the most part, I let Aspen lead us, content to see whatever she wants to see, even when that means standing around for a couple minutes while she reads the tiny words on the big signs. The sun begins to set, our walk getting gradually darker, but neither of us are in a rush to leave. When we round another corner, we reach a new area of the park that we haven't seen before. A small river runs along the path, and on one side is a large embankment. Trees with long, saggy branches run along the top, making a curtain along a lot of it. Some of the branches glisten with water, but some sparkle with something else. I point to one, getting Aspen's attention.
Hey, what's that?
What's what?
What's what? She follows my line of sight, and then her eyes light up when she sees it.
Oh!
Oh. We both hurry over to where something small and blue hangs from one of the branches, glowing like a firefly. There's silky threads hanging from the trees too. They look kind of like spider webs, but softer.
Is it a fairy?
Not quite. They're glowworms.
Aha! She reaches a hand up, cupping the bright orb without touching it.
Oh, worms?
Yes. Look.
I look. Sure enough, there's a bug attached to the light. Well, maybe it's the other way round.
It's almost as pretty as the flowers. Are they magical?
No, just unique. Wellington is somewhat famous for them, in fact. There should be more nearby. Shall we look for them?
Sure. Let's go.
Worms! We follow the embankment, peering among the trees and dirt for another glimpse of light. There are other people around inspecting the same area as we are. We spot a couple isolated bugs, all alone like the first one we encountered, but for a while that seems to be it. However, as the night begins to set in and the sun disappears behind the hills, that starts to change. Before our eyes, lights gradually appear as more and more glowworms take their places, like candles being lit in the dark. The blue-green webbing almost seems to hover in mid-air at parts, since we can't see the trees themselves as easily. Finally, we come to a part of the ridge that brings us both to a halt. Oh! Oh! I've seen this CG before! Well, Lyri was streaming the game. I think I joined for a few minutes and I saw this specific CG. I remember. A big willow tree drops down, making a web of its own out of branches that even reach past other nearby trees. Glowworms hang from them like holiday lights. There are more here than we saw on the way combined. When we first arrived at the gardens, Aspen remarked on how gorgeous it was. Now she's speechless. She takes a step forward and then another, drawn like a moth to a flame. I stay at her side, impressed by the glow of worms, but unable to take my eyes off Aspen again. Her eyes wide and mouth agape. She's the most easy-to-read person I've ever met. The simple way she always wears her awe on her face and her heart on her sleeve, even when she tries to hide her feelings. To me, that's another thing to love about her. I've already seen it happen a few times. Aspen, who always tries to have the perfect words, finds herself at a loss for them so often. It's so good. Like the backlight. Yes, the backlight really gives it a whole nother thing. Dramatic lighting. It's not that dramatic yet, but sometimes you just gotta go with lighting that wouldn't necessarily happen like this IRL, but it makes it look great. Everything she feels so much. As scary as that may have seemed at one time, as we became friends and then more than friends, it's something I've come to admire. She says that meeting me was destiny, or that maybe she just got lucky. I don't know a thing about destiny, but I know the second part is wrong. Or at least only half true. I'm the lucky one here.
Hey.
Aspen, cute.
I'm so normal. Still entranced, she turns her head to face me, and I lean forward to kiss her. I'm used to not having the right words or any words at all, so I hope I can say everything I want to with a kiss. Her eyes flutter shut behind her glasses. She smells faintly of coffee and flour. Her lips taste like love. That is so... The writing in this game is blowing me away. It's so sweet. I hope she knows just how much she's made my life better, just by existing, just by being her. We part, but just barely. Foreheads together, she smiles, the light in her eyes brighter than the one around us.
What was that for? Not that I mind, of
They're
course.
so cute! I can't handle this.
Just because. I was thinking about how lucky I am to be able to do that.
I see.
She did put love in that drink earlier. She kisses me again.
Just because?
Because I love you. And so you'll keep doing that?
That's the easiest promise I've ever made.
Eventually we walk away, letting some of the other searchers enjoy that spot. We follow the winding path through the garden some more, taking our time and stopping to admire anything that catches our eyes. There are plenty of those, not just the flowers and trees, but the lamplit pathways and streams too. At the end, we leave from the gate we enter through, taking a shuttle back into town. I walk with Aspen to her apartment before we part ways for the night. Holding my hands outside her door, she gives me one last kiss.
Thank you for a perfect evening, Miho.
No, thank you.
It was your idea to go there. So, thank you.
It was only perfect because we were together, though. Just take the compliment, silly.
Fine, fine.
Smiling, Aspen steps forward and hugs me, enveloping me in that coffee and flower scent.
Well, shall I see you tomorrow then?
Yes!
Yeah. I already can't wait.
Me either. Good night, Miho.
Good night.
With a final wave, Aspen disappears into her apartment. I make my way back to the library feeling lighter than air. I've only been home for a little bit when I decide to step out into the night again. My last encounter with Silver didn't go so well, but it hasn't made me any less determined to talk to her. It's not just because of my magic and what she might be able to tell me about it, it's because I also want to help her. I know that I can't tell her that outright, but every passing day that I spend with Aspen or with Juliet makes me more confident in my decision to stay around Wellington. While I don't expect things to go exactly the same way for Silver as they did for me, I hope that maybe someday she wants to change too. Making my way to Mount Victoria doesn't take very long. Just like last time, I change forms and search for Silver's scent, locking on and following it through the forest. I eventually find her in a two-legged form, sitting on a log with her back to me. For some reason I'm surprised. I just assumed she spent most of her time as a fox. I change forms myself. Somehow I don't think she's noticed me yet. I'm not sure if I should call out to get her attention or what. I don't think she'd like being surprised, but there probably isn't any chance she'd be excited to see me regardless. Taking a step, I have my decision made for me. The snap of a branch under my foot gives me away.
Damn it.
Hi! Sure enough, Silver spins around, her eyes going from shock to annoyance when she sees me. She leaps to her feet in a fluid motion, while I hold up my empty hands to show I'm not upset.
Stupid dog. Learn to obey when you're given a command. I told you not to come back here.
Technically this was my den first. I can go wherever the fuck I want. Also, I'm not a dog.
Oops. Guess I must not have heard that part.
I didn't bother to make a plan for how to convince her to talk to me, since she has a tendency to mess up any plans I try. Don't me, young lady. She snorts in derision? And transforms as she turns back away from me in a flash. In a flash, she's taken off.
Not this time.
Phew! Ah, I have chocolate on my hand. I change forms and run off after her. She's tricky, not just fast, she also darts back and forth, weaving around trees as she tries to get away. I don't let her, instead keeping her in my sights even though she manages to stay ahead. The forested area isn't very big, but she backtracks so much that it feels huge. If we were in our other forms, I'm sure she'd be shouting taunts at me, or obscenities. Instead, it's gravely silent, other than the soft sound of our paws on the leaves and moss. Silver eventually gives up on trying to confuse me and instead puts on a burst of speed, pulling farther and farther away from me. Why is she so determined to run away, and why am I so determined to catch her? The first part isn't tough to answer, because running away is easy. I understand, because until recently, that was exactly what I would have done too. But the second part, that's harder to say. I push myself as well, trying to run faster like Silver. It's hard, though, and my legs are already aching. I have to start relying on my ears and nose, and not just eyes to track her. Suddenly I see her again, not that far out of reach. She looks back and spots me, and I can see her try to dash again. Only this time, she doesn't seem to be able to pull it off either. That's when I notice her limp. It's subtle, enough that I can only tell when I'm closer up to her like this, but one of her back legs is definitely giving her trouble, and it's starting to slow her down. When it becomes clear I'm going to catch her, she abruptly holds, transforming back in a flash. I scramble to bring myself to a stop and then change too, almost collapsing backwards onto the ground. My lungs feel like they're on fire, but I stay on my feet. Silver doesn't move, her back still to me, even as I see her chest heave while she catches her breath. She clenches her fists, illuminated by the light from her beak.
Why? Why won't you leave me alone?
Because you're the only other Gumi Ho that I know! And I want to know if you're safe. Because for someone who keeps talking about, ooh, our sisters, she seems to be all home.
I've told you to stay away. Aren't dogs supposed to be good at listening?
I'm not a dog, bitch.
I ignore her. I couldn't give her an answer she'd accept anyway.
Why are you limping? Did you hurt your leg?
Silence. Not that I was expecting an answer myself. But then slowly her fingers uncurl.
No, someone else did. Why do you care?
For the first time, there's less of a sharp edge to her words. For once, it sounds like a genuine question.
Because you exist, I guess. I've never met another Gumiho, but I feel like I know you. At least a little bit. We probably have more in common than you think. Or admit.
Pathetic.
I don't know if she's talking about me or not. Finally, she looks up and glares at me, staring right into my eyes. I'm not sure how I want to come across to her. Friendly, trustworthy, brave. Whatever we do have in common, she's also a total mystery. Even at my most antisocial, I was never as wild as she is.
Fine then, I'll tell you. Listen well, dog. I won't repeat myself.
Well, I would guess it was probably a human who heard you, no? Folding her arms, Silver turns her back on me and looks up at the stars.
The forest I called home belonged to man, as all forests do in their minds. Every day, to live was to be in fear of their cruel weapons that could tear you apart before you ever saw them. All creatures of the forest are prey to sate man's hunger for violence. I learned to run, for there was no other choice but death. To hide from their stinking horses and craven hounds. Survive, yet, for all my running and for all my fear, one day, I too found myself fleeing for my life, slabbering beasts at my heels. There was a crack as one of their weapons rang out, finding its mark in my leg. Despite the pain, I kept running for as long as I could before collapsing into the bush. I knew I was going to die, and there was nothing I could do about it.
I wish I had a voice like that, man.
Nothing but quiver and dread, useless and pathetic. I thought I would choke on the fear. Instead, as the first of the hunters arrived, sadistic pleasure in their eyes, the pain in my throat became something else. In that moment, it transformed me. I was more than a pitiful fox. I became something greater, something powerful.
Oh, so you weren't born a Gumiho either?
In a flash, the fear came for them instead. They screamed the same way we foxes do, in agony and terror. The pain I felt was nothing compared to the euphoria of strength. It served me greater than fear had. And it was not only my blood that nurtured the forest that day. I knew that my wounds would heal in time, but that power would never leave me. They did, and it hasn't.
Wait, but that means you've been limping for like forever, because that's a very old injury, no?
Never again will I suffer a human to harm me, or anyone else.
Spinning back around, her eyes shine in the moonlight.
Never again. I told you before that we are nothing alike.
That's true. To an extent. She's wrong. I can see myself reflected in her harsh gaze. I could have been her so easily.
Well, what is it, dog? Have you finally learned to hold your tongue?
Why do you keep calling me a dog, though? Something about her finally clicks. Something in her words makes sense. The way she tells me so much even as she tells me to leave. The way she keeps asking for my thoughts. She desperately wants me to respond.
I'm sorry. All of that stuff that happened to you is terrible. I can see why you hate humans so much.
What is her magic then, though? Because our magic is about being forgotten. Her eyes widened and instantly narrow.
Oh, has a thought dared to enter that empty head of yours?
Yeah, I'd probably hate humans too if I'd gone through what you did. Even though I didn't, I still spent most of my life trying to avoid them. And everyone else. Everyone but one person.
Yeah, I can see why she hates humans. Yeah. I pause, waiting for her to interrupt me, but she doesn't. That's the nicest... Excuse me. That's the nicest thing Silver's ever done for me.
I also got my leg hurt by humans back then. Back when I was a fox, I stepped on one of their traps and couldn't get out. I also thought I was gonna die. But instead, my person set me free. Even though they weren't my person yet. And they put a bandage on my leg and helped it get better. I'd probably still have a limp today if they hadn't.
Silver scoffs but doesn't interject.
Until I came here and met Aspen and Juliet, I thought my person was the only one worth knowing, human or not. I didn't want them to talk to me either. But now, I'm glad they did.
I search her face, trying to get a glimpse of what she might be thinking or feeling, but her expression is as stony as ever. I could keep going, but I'm not sure if it would be a good idea or not. I'm probably already wearing on her patience. Ah, leave it there or keep going. Okay, hold on. That seems like it's gonna be a big choice. Oh god, I'm running out of places where I should be putting my big choices so I can remember them. And you know what? We'll put those down here. All the way down there, so I know big choices down there. Keep going. Because we're going for the comfy ending first. Since she still hasn't cut me off, I decide to keep talking. Who knows when I have another chance?
You could try that too, you know. I could even introduce you to my friends. I haven't told them about you yet. They don't have any idea you exist, but I'm sure they'd be just as nice to you as they were to me. Not all people are bad, humans or fabled. There are good ones too. Just like there are probably good and bad Gumiho.
All I get in response is a cold stare. Well, it's not like I really expected her to say yes. At least I tried. From the way she fidgets, I can tell we're getting near the point where Silver's going to decide she's had enough and run away. Before she can do that, there's something I have to know.
Hey. What? I never asked before. But what's your name?
She sneers, looking glad to have a reason to be disdainful again.
I have no need for one. If I wished to be known by anyone, they wouldn't use a name. Yeah, I used to be like that too. It's how I ended up calling myself Miho. How clever. Which is why I've been calling you Silver in my head, so I'll just keep doing that. Pick something else. Huh?
Her response is immediate. I've been expecting her to do as you wish, or I don't care what a dog thinks of me, but I didn't expect her to have an opinion on my choice. Even Silver looks a bit surprised with herself, like she answered without thinking. She quickly forces back a stoic expression.
I mean, do as you wish.
Aha!
If you tell me something else to call you, I will. I don't care what a dog thinks of me.
Oh, come on, you're getting predictable, girl. Nose in the air, she turns away from me and transforms, bounding off into the shadows like always. This time, I don't try to follow her. She always has to make a show of how little she cares. It took me until tonight to understand that that means she cares a lot. As detached and disinterested as she tries to appear, there are still weaknesses in her armor. Once again, I didn't really learn much about myself or my magic from the visit with Silver, but still, I don't think it was a waste of time. Oh, well, good. At breakfast the next morning, I'm still thinking about Silver and her story and about how much it has in common with mine. Only half listen as Juliet and Aspen talk about a book they've both been reading. Instead, it's nice to just watch them enjoy being around each other. Livers, it's an easy fix. Maybe she actually did get close to someone at some point and they also called her Silver. There's more to that story, for sure. It's so easy to miss that when you're not looking for it. Of course, you can still miss out on other things. It takes me a moment to realize that Aspen is trying to get my attention.
Miho.
Yeah, sorry, yeah? Shaking my head to bring my attention back.
To Miho. Anyone home?
Nope.
There is now. Just stepped out for a minute, you know.
Believe me, I know. I was just asking if something had happened to your bead. It looks brighter again.
Maybe it's because Silver is more of a dog name. Oh,
It does?
Oh man, that'd be embarrassing if Aspen noticed a change before I did. I took my necklace away from me so I can see it. Sure enough, the glow is stronger than before. Still not as strong as Silver's though.
I swear it wasn't like that when I went to sleep.
Eh?
Maybe it changed overnight. Like your body, perhaps needs time to process. Actually, I believe I learned something useful in that regard.
Oh.
I was able to get in touch with one of the curators from the exhibition you saw at Topova.
I mentioned the painting of a Gumio and asked if he knew anything about them. And he told me a very interesting myth. It says that not only is Gumio's bead the source of her magic, but it also requires more magic to sustain itself. Most Fable take their magic from the underworld's source. But for those who don't come from the underworld, such as Miho,
it has to come from somewhere else.
Right.
We all quiet for a moment as we all come to what I'm sure is the same conclusion.
The memories.
Yes, I believe so. Every time someone forgets about you, I believe your bead retains that memory as a sort of power. There was a second part to the myth as well. Once it's accumulated enough, the Gumio can take that magic and make it her own, becoming something even more than a Gumio.
Wouldn't... Is it getting... Wait. Is it getting stronger than because more people are getting memories of her? But like, they're retaining the memories now. And not forgetting anymore, so that wouldn't work.
Something more? In what way?
A Chunho.
Chunho? Both of them look at me.
Pardon?
Chunho. I know the word, but not how I know it. As if Juliet's explanation unlocked a forgotten memory of my own.
That's what I'd be. If I swallowed the bead when it was ready.
Oh.
Tunnel.
Oh.
A sky fox.
Oh. I don't know what it means, but I know it's the next step in my experience, in my existence, more than a Gumiho. Hi! Good evening!
You swallowed it. I suppose that makes sense, but it hardly sounds pleasant.
It isn't.
Removing my necklace, I inspect the bead yet again. The glow must be related to what Juliet was saying. That it's getting closer to being ready. I don't know if the rest of me is, though.
But why now? I don't think that many people have forgotten me recently, but it started changing so fast.
It's magic. Even as a boring old human, I can tell you that magic never works how you think it should.
True that.
Not just magic, but also myth. Myths tend to have some roots in truth, but are incomplete or warped by retelling. Trust your eyes and your heart, not just what Aspen and I find.
Sure.
Right. Besides, who knows how much farther it has to go? It could keep getting brighter and brighter for a long time.
Does Mia have regular human legs that are covered in fur? I mean, from her sprites we've seen, she has normal human legs.
I've seen... I'll see if it looks any different this time next week.
I was about to mention Silver, but managed to catch myself. I want to tell Aspen and Juliet about her, but not yet. Not until I know her better myself. Not until I can convince her to meet them. And it could take even longer for Silver to change than for my bead. Although now that I think about it, what does the brightness of hers mean? That her bead has stored even more magic than mine? Something about that doesn't feel right. It can't just be about an amount, there has to be something more. I wonder if even she knows what it is. There's one more big question too. One more big what if.
If I do that, would it mean people stop forgetting about me? If my bead isn't there to steal the memories?
That would be very nice if so.
Indeed. I couldn't say, but I share Aspen's feelings, as I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, I do.
I'd locked the necklace back around my neck. The more I learn about my powers, the more conflicted I feel. I know Aspen and Juliet mean well, but it's not just something they can understand. Even though Juliet has magic of her own, it's entirely different from mine. Conversation changes to recent events at the library and Bell House, and none of us mention anything else about magic or Gumiho for the rest of the morning. Whatever's going to happen with my bead, I have to figure it out for myself. Sounds good? These two again. Hello! Even though I'm preoccupied with thinking about magic, the morning goes by without any trouble. The library isn't very busy, so I finish my tasks quickly and then work on reading and writing. When I hear the door open, I don't look up, just call out a greeting because I'm halfway through a worksheet. But then something floats into the edge of my vision to get my attention.
Gerby?
The familiar fable twirls in recognition. Of course, Tommy's with him on the other side of the desk, but I don't see Gwen or Elijah.
Hi, me!
Hi!
Hey there. What's up?
I'm looking for a super special bug. Do you want to help me find it?
A special bug.
Here in the library? I haven't seen any weird bugs.
Nah, it's not in here. It's in the woods. It's a special butterfly where if you touch it, you turn into a butterfly too.
Would you want that to happen? Tommy flaps his arms, imagining what it would be like to have wings.
I kinda like how I am already. Where's your mom at, though?
He frowns.
She's at her house. I told her I was gonna go, but I don't think she heard me.
Oh, you're out on your own? A bookworm. The worm isn't a bug. I would count it. Knowing Gwen, once she realizes Tommy's missing, she'd go on a panic looking for him. I doubt I could just make him go home, though. Guess that means I have to keep an eye on him.
Alright, I'll go with you. But I'm not gonna touch it if we find it.
Okay, yay! Did you hear that, Gerby? Me's gonna come with us!
Gerby flaps his petals just like Tommy flapped his arms. I put away my things and then follow Tommy out the door. Before I go, I send a quick message to Gwen to tell her that Tommy's with me. Eventually, we reach Mount Victoria. It takes a lot longer walking with Tommy than it would take me on my own.
So...
I mean, he doesn't have very long legs.
We just have to look for it. It's got bright purple wings like Gerby, so it should be easy to spot.
Okay. I let him lead me around the area while he checks all the flowers and plants that he can. We see all sorts of other bugs, but not the one we're looking for. I keep half an eye out for the butterfly, but also watch to make sure Tommy doesn't touch something poisonous or bitey by accident. While we're wandering around, I notice that the area we're in is kind of familiar. That gives me an idea.
Hey, Tommy. Wanna see something neat?
Is it a bug?
Nope.
Okay, I guess.
It's just a short walk to my den. The condition isn't great and I have to tidy it up a bit just so it's recognizable.
What is this?
It's my den. It's where I lived when I first came here.
Whoa.
Both Tommy and Gerby inspect my handiwork.
It used to be a lot nicer. Now it's kind of beat up.
I bet I could still fit in there.
Ooh.
Yeah, probably.
Tommy pokes around the entrance for a little bit, clearing away some of the leaves and other stuff that's blocking it.
Do you like your new home more?
At the library?
Oh, yeah. My old house was better, where I lived with Mom and Dad. Dad still lives there, but now Mom has a different place where she lives. I have to go there sometimes.
You don't like the new house?
You don't like it?
I don't want to have two homes. I just want one with all of us. Me, Mom, Dad, and Gerby. Come on, I don't see any butterflies here.
We start walking again, but I don't let us get too far from the main path. Tommy and Gerby are still looking around for the butterfly, but I can tell Tommy's heart isn't in it quite as much. I don't have any experience with any of the issues Tommy's dealing with or the rest of his family, but I feel like I should at least say something.
You know, I'm kind of jealous.
Why?
Because your parents let you have two homes. I spent a long time not even having one home. I don't really count places like my den. That was just a place to stay. Until I moved into the library. I didn't have somewhere better. But you get to have two.
Yeah.
What about your parents?
I don't have any. Not the same way you do.
My parents were just foxes and I barely remember them or even think about them that much.
Even if they don't live in the same place, they both still love you lots, right?
I guess.
I'm not sure if anything I'm saying is helpful. I don't even know how to help Tommy, but I am being honest at least. What he asks for family still seems pretty good, even if it's not perfect. In the end, we don't end up finding the magical butterfly. While we're still out looking around, my phone rings. Of course it's Gwen. I tell her where we are and she promises to be there soon. When she finally meets up with us, she doesn't even scold Tommy for running off, just gives him a hug and thanks me. As they go off back to her house, I reflect on what I said. Being a human is tougher than I used to think it was. What Tommy and his family are going through isn't something I can relate to. But I get the feeling that Tommy's trying in his own way, just like Gwen and Elijah are. Whatever it takes, I hope they're able to figure things out together. I'm sure they will. I'm not surprised when Aspen doesn't show up for breakfast. Before I fell asleep, she mentioned that she was feeling nervous about her meeting and expected to be up for a while and that she'd probably sleep in. I offered to stay up with her, but she declined, saying she'd rather use her time to prepare. The spot at the table is conspicuously empty as Juliet and I eat together, but I'm sure she'll show up eventually. Keep an eye on my phone for any messages from her, even as Juliet and I clean up and start our days, but I don't hear anything from Aspen. The library gradually gets livelier, and I have my hands full restocking shelves and filling out papers. Finally, some familiar faces arrive, although Aspen's isn't one of them.
Be careful. If you drop it, we'll have to start all over.
Oh boy.
I'm not going to drop it. You carry it if you're so worried.
I can carry it if you like, Pippa.
It's fine.
I can hear the 3 kids before I can see them, the voice only getting louder when Armand pushes the front door open and holds it for the other 2. Cello enters first, followed by Pippa, who has arms wrapped tightly around the box. They come in every day since we visited the Bell House, so Pippa and Armand still remember me. I didn't explain my magic to them, they just chose to work up here.
Good morning, Miss.
Don't do that! Cello can't help but yawn as she greets me.
Morning. Wow, you guys look exhausted.
We are.
Cello and I stayed up all night finishing our project. Armand was only awake for like half of it.
Damn.
You wouldn't let me touch the models, so why should I have to stay up?
You too. Please.
Even Cello seems too tired to put up with her friends bickering today. They both huff but stop arguing.
It was a long night, but we managed to get done. Since we're going back home tomorrow, we wanted to come show you and Ms. Aspen the final version.
Ooh! She gave us a lot of advice at the Bell House.
And a lot of free refills.
Yeah, Ms. Aspen was super nice to us. Is she around?
No, she has a big thing going on today, actually.
Nope. I haven't seen her yet today. I think she had a late night too. I'll try calling her.
I'm going to go put this down somewhere.
Good idea.
All 3 of them go find a table where they can set up, and I pull out my phone to give Aspen a call. It rings for a long time, and I'm about to hang up when I finally hear the line click. Her voice is so groggy that she was clearly still asleep.
Hi, Aspen. Sorry to wake you up.
Miho? It's fine. Why are you calling so early, though? Is something wrong?
It's the middle of the day, Aspen.
Early? It's almost lunchtime.
Huh?
There's a rustling sound, and then I can hear her groan.
Oh, I was up so late last night.
I remember. Did you get a lot done?
I got a lot of worrying done, at least. That's about it. But I'll be ready for this evening. I didn't mean to sleep through breakfast.
It's alright. Cello and the others are here, though. They finished their project and wanted to show you. But if you're too tired, I can just send you a picture or something.
No, it's alright.
Thank you for the pet.
I just need a bit to get ready.
Okay. See you soon, then.
You're looking for it. Okay. I hang up and then go let the students know what's going on. They wander around the library to entertain themselves while we wait. Finally, the library door opens and Aspen enters, still looking half asleep. She manages to stumble in my direction, and I greet her with a big hug.
Good morning. Actually, good afternoon.
Don't remind me. I'm glad to see you, though.
Same.
Miss Aspen, over here!
Don't shout in the library. From their chosen spot, the 3 kids wave at Aspen.
Miss Aspen makes me sound so old.
She grumbles quietly enough that only I can hear her, but she puts on a smile as we go over to the table.
Thank you for coming to see us. Were you up late working too?
Something like that, yes. But not as hard as you were, it seems. Congratulations on finishing your project.
Woo! Despite her exhaustion, Aspen manages to use her customer service voice and seems genuinely excited for them.
Thanks.
Ah yes, the customer service voice. No matter how done you are, it just works.
Me and Cello worked really hard on it. I guess Armand helped too.
Oh, come on.
It was something the 3 of us all made together. But we wouldn't have been able to do that without visiting the Bell House.
I'm very excited to see. Is it in the box?
Pippa nods. Armand reaches for it, but Pippa pulls the box out of his way.
Here we go.
She carefully unfolds her flaps and reaches in, lifting out the project. Both Aspen and I gasp as we see it. It's a tiny version of the Bell house, about the size of a shoebox. The walls look like they're made out of cardboard or some other material, and the tables and chairs inside are made of clay. Even the stretch of road outside the cafe is included, with the benches and flags and everything else. The smell of fresh paint emanates from the display, along with glue and other craft supplies.
Thank you for the pad. Posture check. And the hydro time.
It's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Thanks.
Hehe. Although Pippa sounds gruff as always, I can see her blush before she tries to hide her face. Aspen kneels down to get a better look, inspecting all the little details.
You even got the bell above the door. How cute.
It wouldn't be the Bell house without a bell.
That's true!
The plants, too. Great job, everybody.
Cello and Mom beam at the praise, and even Pippa manages a small smile.
Thanks for letting us spend time there.
And for all the coffee.
Of course. I remember the stress of homework and group projects very well. At least your group actually works together, instead of leaving it all for one person.
That's right.
Cello hastily answers, shooting Pippa a look before she can try to challenge it.
Thank you as well, Ms. Miho. I would have never
I
found out about
feel
the Bell
that.
house if you didn't take us there.
I feel that. I like doing group work on my own, because at least that way I knew it was getting done. And not just me having to motivate other people to do their part of the stuff. Because at the end of it all, I was always the one doing it anyway. Get an excuse to visit and get free coffee.
No prob. I'll take any excuse I can to go there.
It's true. I speak from experience.
Hey, you're one of those excuses too.
Oh, I'm the excuse, am I? So it's the free drinks you're really visiting for?
Only sometimes. Sometimes you still make me pay.
Sounds like it should be always from here on out.
We both stare at each other for a second before slipping into laughter. It manages to push some of the tiredness out of Aspen's eyes. We chat with the kids for a while longer, swapping stories about Wellington and Marina, until finally it's time for them to pack up and get going. Aspen helps Pippa carefully return the project to its box and close it up. Then all 5 of us head outside.
Thanks again for all your help.
Hey, no pop.
Yeah, it was really nice meeting you. I hope we can come back to Wellington again sometime.
Me too.
It's bittersweet to think that after this time tomorrow, those two will have forgotten about me. I'm glad they'll remember Aspen though, at the Bell house, of course.
Yes. I wish we could stay longer, but I also miss home. It's kind of funny. I wasn't sure if I'd miss San Marino or not before we left, but now I definitely do.
Funny how fast that happens, right?
Yes.
Take care, all of you. You're always welcome at the Bell house again.
We'll definitely come back if we can.
The two friends nod. Amon stoops down to pick up the box. I notice Pippa turns up, but she doesn't stop him.
Be careful.
I will.
Okay. Time to go. Goodbye, and thank you again.
No prob.
Goodbye.
Bye.
With a final wave, we see them off until they've gone down the path and disappeared from sight. Once they're gone, Aspen slouches, sighing and yawning.
That was nice. I hope they get a good grade on their project.
For real?
They better. It looks really good. Are you gonna be alright though? You seem like you're about to fall over.
I'm fine. It was nice to have the distraction for a bit. Now all I have left to do is wait for this evening.
Wanna go in? Or are you gonna wait at home?
I'd rather wait with you, if that's okay.
Sure.
Of course. I was hoping you'd say that.
Aspen holds out a hand and I take it. Together we step back into the library and wait for the appointed hour to arrive.
The appointed hour.
I sit on a bench with a book in my lap pretending to read. In reality, I'm not even trying. I'm watching the plaza across from me where Aspen sits at a table alone. I offered to sit with her, but she declined, saying this was something she needed to do alone. Still, she knows I'm watching, even if I'm too far to hear. Knowing school systems, they will get a bare minimum passing grade. No, please! They even use different materials! Pulling my phone out of my pocket, I slowly type a message wishing Aspen good luck and send it. From a distance, I see her check her phone and an instant later receive a few heart emojis in response. Just then, a stranger approaches her and the two of them talk for a second before Aspen jumps up to shake their hand. Then they both sit back down and Aspen scoots her chair in closer. They chat for a long while, enough for the waiters to come out and refill their drinks several times. From what I can tell, it looks like the agent is doing most of the talking and Aspen is mostly listening. Even from behind, I can tell when she's saying something because of the way she sits up and starts to move about animatedly. After a while, the agent opens the briefcase and passes some papers to Aspen, who stares at them. The agent stands, and a few seconds later, Aspen does too. We shake hands a second time before the agent pays their bill and leaves, Aspen lingering at the table. When a couple more minutes pass by and she still doesn't move, I get up and go to her instead.
Hey, you.
Startled, Aspen looks around before looking up to see me.
Oh, Miho! Sorry to keep you waiting, I was just...
It's alright. I don't mind. How'd it go?
The fact that I have to ask means I already know the answer. If it had gone as hoped, then I'm sure Aspen would be out of his seat jumping for joy.
It went... fine, I think.
Oh?
You think?
Yeah. Shall we head back to the library? It's rather hot, isn't it?
Sure. Let's go.
It's not hot at all. In fact, it's downright pleasant, but I'm sure that's not the real reason she wants to get out of here. I lead the way, and although Aspen never lets go of my hand, she doesn't say anything either. Uh-oh. The library still has a few guests in it when we get there, but we pass them by and head to the dining room instead, only to find it's already occupied.
Oh, hello.
Hi! Juliet has papers of her own spread out on the table, but she sweeps them together and tucks them away as she greets us.
Hey!
Still silent, Aspen distractedly sits down, already pulling out the packet the agent gave to her to examine. Juliet gives me a questioning look and I offer a tiny shrug in response. I assume we're going to find out what's on Aspen's mind soon. There are two parts to the packet. The first one is huge, almost as thick as a book. It must be the copy of the manuscript Aspen sent in. The second one is much smaller but still lengthy. That's the one Aspen focuses on. She reads over the document, which has to be at least a dozen pages long if not more. Even worse, the printed words are really tiny. Finally, she puts both bundles into her bag, chewing her lip before speaking.
I think I can do this.
Okay.
Do what?
Aspen snaps her attention to me like she just noticed she's not alone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I spaced out.
Really?
Yeah, we could tell.
It's quite alright. It's clear you have a lot to think about.
Yes, well, hopefully I've got most of the thinking out of the way.
She slumps back, shoulders rising and falling as she sighs.
They said it needs a lot of work, which is understandable. I already knew that from all the rejection notices. I hadn't realised the scope of the issues, but fortunately they did. When I saw all the markups, I was taken aback at first. It made sense when I thought about it, though. They're a publisher for a reason, and as a first-time author, I want a publisher for a reason. So it needs a lot of work. A lot of rewriting, really. But they encouraged me to fix it up and then resubmit.
But that means they actually read it and they actually think there's a promising story there. If they tell you what stuff they think would need improvement.
They asked me to make my decision by Halloween, so I have a few weeks to think it over. But I think I'd be a fool not to do it, right?
Aspen looks at Juliet and me in turn, and from her knitted brows and small frown, I can tell Juliet is thinking the same thing I am.
You don't sound convinced.
It's a big decision. Surely you don't need to make it right away. Why not take advantage of the time they gave you to think about it?
I don't have to decide right now. But if I just let myself think about it too long, I'll never do anything. I've learned that the hard way. Besides...
Her voice drops and face falls.
There may not be another chance.
I follow her gaze. Tucked into her bag near where the papers from the agent were stuffed, I can see the corners of several more empty envelopes. More for Aspen's collection. She catches me looking and nudges the bag shut with her foot.
I suppose you're right, though. I should give it a bit more thought. It can wait until after the weekend, at least.
Relieved, Juliet nods.
I think that's a wise idea.
We spend the rest of the evening together, chatting and having a good time. None of us mentioned writing or Aspen's book again, including her. Still, there's something in the way she talks and laughs, like she's only half listening. I'd hoped that her meeting would make Aspen feel better and relax again the way she was on our date at the gardens. Instead, it seems like it's done the opposite. It's hard to see her struggle and I wish there was something I could do, but I'm the least qualified person to give Aspen advice on something like this. I don't know anything about books or writing or publishers. I do know how important writing is to her and how many of her dreams revolve around it. I know how hard she's worked and will keep working. No matter what, I also know that it's something she'll have to decide for herself, with or without advice from Juliet and me. Of course, I'll support Aspen no matter what she chooses. I just hope that whatever decision she makes, she won't end up regretting it later. By the time Aspen has to head home, she's perked up a little bit, but not enough to make me stop worrying about her. Still, she says goodbye with a kiss and a smile, and a promise to come by in the morning. Right now, that'll have to be good enough for me. And now playing a new chapter, but it's not a new chapter yet, we're still in the same chapter. On Saturday morning, I wake up around my usual time, but linger in the bed for a while. I can hear the distant sounds of Aspen and Juliet having an animated conversation. Aspen laughs, then Juliet laughs. I don't know what they're laughing about, but I smile too. I just like hearing my girlfriend laugh after all, no matter what kind of troubles are weighing in our minds. If she's able to laugh despite everything, then that's a win in my book. Aside from a couple hasty meals, it's been a while since the two of them have really gotten to spend much time together. Sometimes it's easy to forget that they've known each other longer than they've known me. In Chapter 8, Part 3, wait, good question actually, where are we at right now? Chapter 4, Day 12. Outside is shaping up to be another beautiful day. There are clouds, but none of them are rain clouds. The trees and grass sway in a gentle breeze beyond my window. I've had more beautiful days here than I count. Even Wellington weather at its worst isn't so bad from indoors. I open my window, enjoying the morning air as I freshen myself up too. Making my way silently to the kitchen, I pause just out of sight and listen.
I've given it lots of thought.
I have, but I still can't decide. Regina really wants me to take it, of course, but...
But there are good and bad parts of both.
Exactly. I feel like... I'm not sure who to compare it to.
No need to compare. I understand what you mean.
But a little while longer I stay where I am unseen. Not because I want to eavesdrop or spy on Aspen and Juliet, but because I don't want to interrupt them. I just want to let them talk. Maybe I'll do just that. Hearing Aspen express some of her worries and hearing Juliet offer words of encouragement reminds me of some of my earliest days here. Both of them changed their lives around to include me, which is something I'll always be grateful for. Still, I should give them a chance to spend time with just each other, not because I feel unwelcome, but because that hasn't really happened since I arrived. Eventually there's a moment of silence followed by the sound of a cup being set on a table. I choose this time to make my entrance.
Ah, there you are.
Hi!
Good morning, Miho.
Good morning!
I go into the kitchen and grab a piece of toast and an apple, but I don't sit down.
Sleep well.
Sure did. Now that I'm up though, I think I'm gonna go for a walk.
This early? Well, it was quite nice on my way up here.
Yeah, I used to go for morning walks all the time, but it's been a while.
You couldn't have picked a better day, it seems. Enjoy yourself then, Miho.
I will.
You're gonna go out in your pajamas? For good measure, I wrap a couple more slices of toast in a paper towel and put them in one of my deep pockets, along with another apple and some packs of jam. Oh, no, never mind, okay. I wave goodbye before I leave and then I head back to my room to get dressed before stepping outside towards the road. Munching on my breakfast as I walk, I hum a song to myself that I heard on TV. I go in the direction of the ocean, same as usual. My days of aimless wandering really have decreased. I actually have places to go now and people to see. A day without any plans is a luxury. I wonder how Jong-in chose where to go on their travels. What first brought them to my forest all those years ago? Was it on a whim, or was there something in particular they were searching for? If there was, I hope they found it. I would have loved to ask, would have loved to tell them all about Aspen and Juliet. More than anything though, I wish I could have thanked them. Our time together was short even by human standards, but it still meant everything to me. I take myself to Mount Victoria and start the familiar climb, but before I get to the top, I stop. It's only been a couple days since I last came here and saw Silver. Trying to visit her again so soon might be pushing my luck, but then again, so is trying to visit her at all. The lukewarm toast and apple in my pocket aren't much, but if she lives anything like I did, she'll still probably appreciate them. Even if she doesn't say it. Instead of transforming, I stay on 2 feet, heading in the same direction I went last time. I'm not too concerned about finding her. If she wants to be found, she will be. Keeping my eyes and ears peeled, I watch for a glint of silver fur or the sound of a snapping branch. When I finally spot her, it's purely by accident. Once again, she's in her human form rather than a fox. With her back to me, she kneels at the edge of a patch of grass, attention focused on something I can't see. She doesn't move as I approach, although I'm sure she knows I'm there.
Be careful.
Okay. I hold still a few feet away. At least she didn't call me a dog.
What is it?
I approach delicately, scanning the ground before every step. Finally arrive behind her and look down to find my answer. A bird about the size of my hand lies on its side in the grass. It's alive but clearly injured.
What happened to it?
This one was blown from its perch in the tree. For whatever reason, it was too weak to fly.
Oh no!
Now, its leg is broken. It won't be long until it dies.
Looking down, you see that Silver's right about its injury. It struggles to flap its wings, but it can't even push itself into a standing position.
Poor thing.
I kneel down beside Silver.
You were trying to help it, right?
She scoffs.
It is beyond help. Such is nature's way. I simply thought to put it out of its misery.
Clearly.
You didn't, though.
Silence. Before doing anything else, I reach into my pocket and pull out the food I brought with me, holding it out towards Silver.
Here, I brought you this.
She looks at it, but doesn't make any move to accept.
What is this? Poison?
It's toast and an apple, bitch.
It's an apple. And some toast. It's not poisoned. I ate some myself. Ooh, and this.
I have to dig all the way down to the bottom to find the little pack.
Grape jelly.
Silver stares incredulously like I'm trying to give her, well, poison or something. I set the food down by her knees and turn my attention back to the bird.
Let's get you some help, Birdie.
I cut my fingers together and reach for the bird, which finally gets a reaction from Silver.
What are you doing?
Her voice is sharp like a knife.
I'm going to take this guy back home.
I may not know what to do, but I'm sure Aspen or Juliet will. It's better than just leaving it out here to die.
Why? It's weak. Even were it to survive today, it's only a matter of time before something else claims its life.
So? I don't care. I'm gonna go help it right now. Ooh. And I'm gonna accidentally press a button I didn't mean to press. Also, thank you for the follow. Come in.
So what? I'm sure that time still matters to it. Both of us can relate, right?
As gently as I can, I slide my hands around the struggling bird and scoop up the poor little thing. Its beady eyes look around frantically, and I can feel its tiny heart pounding in its tiny chest. I start heading back towards the library as fast as I can. Before I get very far, there's a noise from behind me, and I look back to see Silver following me. An empty paper towel dangles from her hands. Smiling to myself, I keep walking. When I step from the woods back onto the path, I expect Silver to have disappeared. Instead, she takes a few cautious steps out, looking left and right as if a car might come barreling down the mountain. Avoiding my eyes, she walks past me and keeps going like she was planning to do this anyway. When we reach the base of Mount Victoria, she's a few meters ahead of me, and I clear my throat loudly to get her attention.
It's this way.
She stomps after me, annoyed at Wellington Ford's geography or something. Her clothes, which are clearly meant to help her sneak around at night, stand out like a sore thumb in the morning sun. They also must be hot as hell. If either of those things bother her, she doesn't let herself show it. I curl my fingers to shade the bird as much as I can. It seems to have calmed down a little, but it's probably more from exhaustion than anything. When we reach the library, Silver trails far behind. I wait at the entrance, not sure if she's coming or not. I don't ask, she'll do what she wants either way. After a moment, she walks up the hill and joins me. I simply nod in acknowledgement before I push open the door with my shoulder, Silver behind me like a shadow. Within a second, Aspen pops her head out from the dining room.
Ah, Miho, we were just...
Shocking and surprised, Aspen's eyes go wide as a saucer as she notices my companion. She disappears from sight and I can only imagine what she's saying to Juliet right now. Behind me, Silver looks around in curious awe, although she stops when she notices me watching. I jerk my head towards the dining room and head in. Both Aspen and Juliet are there waiting, trying to appear casual, but by the way they're both silently staring at the entrance, I'm sure it's just an act.
this is Silver.
She nods at the ground and says nothing, displaying none of her usual venom or drama. It feels as if she's hiding behind me, which is something I wouldn't have expected her pride to allow. They're choking. It's like, ugh!
It's quite nice to meet you, Silver.
Charmed.
None of them know what to say. I can't blame them. Fortunately, there's something more important to talk about.
We came back here because we need some help. Or at least this guy does.
I can curl my fingers and tilt my hands for Aspen and Juliet to see. I doubt neither of them even noticed I was carrying something. They both lean in to see.
What's this?
The bird starts to struggle again, probably because of how many more people are suddenly staring at it.
Ah, his leg. I'll be right back.
Peering at the little bird, it doesn't take Juliet more than a second to see what's wrong. She hurriedly departs for the stairs, moving right past Silver without a glance. Silver lurches to the side to get out of her way all the same. Aspen grabs one of the dish racks and folds it up to make a small square and then sets that on the table.
Here, why don't you put him down on this? I've read that it's best to put him in a box or somewhere enclosed, but this will do for now.
I gently lower the bird into the makeshift cushion. Its eyes still dart around, but it doesn't struggle as much. I sigh with relief at being able to unfold my hands, shaking and stretching them out before washing them several times. Juliet returns soon with her phone in one hand and a small cardboard box in the other. Using a kitchen knife, she cuts a few holes into the sides of the box and then puts it aside.
Miho, will you help me move him?
Yeah! She takes 2 corners of the rack and I grab the other 2 and we carefully lift it over the box and set it down inside.
Do you think it'll be okay?
I keep my voice at a whisper. Even though the bird can understand our words, I still don't want it to hear.
I hope so. If not for you, it certainly wouldn't have a chance. I've contacted someone who will be able to provide better assistance than we can.
Oh!
She should be here shortly.
Yay!
Is it a vet?
No. A contact at the nature preserve. She's rescued quite a few unfortunate creatures like our friend here.
I've never heard of a nature preserve before. What's that?
It's a conservation area on the north side of town. They have a bunch of protected land where they rehabilitate injured animals or ones that can't survive in the wild. I used to go there on class trips sometimes. One time we had a sleepover there and I saw a kiwi.
She smiles fondly as she recalls the memory.
Whoa. I didn't know a place
kiwi.
like that existed.
It's far from the only one. There are dozens more in New Zealand alone, of all different sizes.
Looking at the box on the table, I can't help but feel a little bad for our friend. He's probably never going to see his home on Mount Victoria again, and he doesn't even get a say in it. But where he's going doesn't sound half bad. Like Juliet said, he probably wouldn't have even survived if he'd been left on his own, if not for me and for...
Silver?
I only now realize that she's gone.
Oh, I didn't even notice her leave.
She's like that.
I go into the hallway, looking up the stairs and around the room for her. The front door is open, but only a crack. Something's keeping it from closing. Walking over, I spot something on the floor, jammed between the door and the wall. It's a gnawed core of an apple wrapped in a breadcrumb-covered paper towel. Laughing, I pick it up and throw it in the trash, letting the door shut behind me. In the dining room, Aspen and Juliet are both seated again. It's far past Juliet's bedtime, but she looks as awake and alert as I've ever seen her. I sit down too, waiting for the question that I know is coming. It doesn't take Aspen more than 2 seconds.
So, who exactly was that? Obviously she was a Gumiho, but...
I take a deep breath and try to think of where to begin.
It's a long story.
You know that's my favorite kind.
Hehehe. Nodding, I finally settle on where to start.
She used to be a fox, just like me.
When bedtime rolls around in the evening, I'm more than ready for it. Climbing over my bed to reach the window, I pause for a moment to enjoy the breeze. I've kept it open all day. As I reach up to pull it shut, the wind intensifies for just a moment. The floors on my desk shake and my scroll rolls off the edge and onto the floor. I slide the window closed with a dull thud and then pick up the fallen parchment. It's been a while since I've opened it, but I still know every crease and rough edge by heart. Unfolding it, I stare at the familiar but unfamiliar scrawlings. You know me, I would never be seeing another woman behind your back. Yeah, no. What would that guide at the museum exhibit have thought if they saw my scroll? Could they have read it? Well, they probably would have thought I stole it from somewhere. No matter what it says, I probably got more use out of it than Jongi never expected. What kind of person gives a scroll to a fox? Then again, that was part of what made them so special. My phone buzzes and I set the scroll back down as I see Aspen's picture appear.
Hey!
Hey, you weren't in bed yet, were you?
Nah, not yet. Soon though.
Well, I won't keep you up. I just wanted to say goodnight again, and that I love you.
Aw, you too.
I love you too, but I don't mind staying up. Is everything okay?
I can hear the sounds of Aspen's blankets and an annoyed meow as she moves around on the other end.
Yeah, I'm fine. I couldn't fall asleep, thinking about all the editing I have ahead of me. Today was nice though. I'm glad I got to see you and Juliet. And Silver.
Me too. And the burn.
Aspen laughs.
Right, and the bird.
Earlier I told her and Juliet about the other times I had met Silver and some of what I learned about magic. I kept the details of her past secret though. It isn't mine to talk about.
I'm sure he's very glad he met the two of you as well.
Yeah, well, I couldn't just leave it there. Even if it can't have a normal bird life or live in the forest, at least it's got someone to take care of it now. I didn't really do that much.
You did plenty. Many people would have left him to die, if they even noticed him at all.
Maybe. Yeah.
I also didn't tell her and Juliet about how Silver thought we should just abandon him too. The reason I gave Silver for why I couldn't do that was true, although I can't blame her for not believing me or understanding. Someone saved my life once too, but Silver was chosen to die.
I thought that it should have a chance too. Even though it's just a bird, it's still alive.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would have said I'm just a fox before. I didn't even know how to help it. I just hoped you or Juliet would. That was really the lucky part. That and Juliet knowing someone else to contact. It took a lot of people to save that bird, huh?
Mm-hmm. Even Silver in her own weird way. I think she was glad it survived too. There's no response from the other end, although the call is still going, just a faint sound.
Aspen?
I listened to the noise for a second and realized it's her breath. She's already fallen asleep. Smiling, I leave the call running as I set my phone next to my pillow and lay down. After a few seconds the screen turns off, Aspen's photo disappearing as well.
Sleep tight.
Aww. 2 weeks later! That's sudden.
Okay, you can open your eyes.
I take my hands off my face and look around. Aspen's apartment doesn't seem any different than usual, aside from being a bit untidy. But she stands there in front of me, beaming, with her hands behind her back.
Maybe it's a little silly to celebrate a 1-month anniversary, but I have a gift for you.
A gift?
Aspen laughs and steps closer to me.
Yes, although it's kind of a gift for both of us.
Slowly she brings her hands around and reveals what she was hiding. It's a stack of papers too small to be a manuscript, but similar. She turns the stack so I can see the front page, which only has a few words written on it. Short enough that I can sound them out.
The Fox and the Grove.
Yes! The title was supposed to be a placeholder, but I rather like it. It's a new story that I wrote. You can probably guess what it's about.
A fox and a grove. I flipped through the pages. There's only text on one side and a lot of blank space. Still, just holding and looking at this present makes my heart swell.
I can't believe you already wrote a new book.
It's much shorter than my novel. More like a kid's book than anything.
Still, that's amazing. I didn't even
She's
know
going to rename it Please Be Happy, isn't she?
That's because it was supposed to be a surprise, silly. It's just working on all these changes to my novel. I needed something that I could write on the side for fun.
Yeah, makes sense.
No wonder you've been so tired all the time. You've been working on 2 things at once.
It's fine. I'm fine. Once I'm done with the edits, everything will be back to normal. Spending time on this felt like a treat.
With a bright smile that doesn't quite hide the bags under her eyes, I wish I could believe Aspen when she says she's fine.
I only have a couple more days before I have to send in my revisions anyway. So by next week, I'll be able to relax again.
The area around her desk is messy, more than the rest of her apartment. Aside from her laptop and notebook spread across it, there are empty coffee cups, loose sheets of paper, and wrappers from fast food and frozen meals. Covers on her bed are unmade, revealing the shoebox that's hidden beneath it. The lid is bulging with how many letters are stuffed into it. Noticing my stare, Aspen zips over to the bed and pulls the sheets down to hide the box, kicking some clothes and other stuff on the floor under the bed too.
Anyway, here, for you. I love you.
I take the papers as gently as I can and hold them close to my heart as I lean in to kiss Aspen.
I love you too.
Like always, the moment is way too short, but Aspen's smile looks brighter and more real when we part.
Go ahead and make yourself at home. I need to take care of the cats and do all my other after-work chores.
Sure.
Okay. Let me know if you need any help.
Of course.
Another kiss on her cheek and then she's off. On one hand, it's hard to believe we've already been dating for months. On the other, it's hard to believe it's only been a month. It feels like ages since we said goodbye at the bus station. I've had that feeling several times since coming to Wellington, where the days feel like they either rush by or drag on. Either way, they've passed and I've been here for almost 4 months now. It's not the longest I've lived in one place, but I'm sure that at some point I'll pass my record. I kick off my shoes and lay back on the bed, staring up at the ceiling with Aspen's new book on my chest. Everything around me has the faintest trace of Aspen's perfume, along with her ever-present smell of coffee. Blankets, the sheets, the pillows, all of it. Even out of the room, her presence is all-encompassing. From the bathroom over the sound of the running shower, I can hear Aspen singing something to herself. I wonder if she knows I can hear her. Or maybe she's doing it because she knows I can hear. Although her singing voice isn't the best, it's surprisingly clear and stable. I like listening to it just because it's hers. Right when I'm about to sit up, one of Aspen's cats, I think it's Byron, hops up on the bed beside me. I expect him to run away as soon as he recognizes me, but to my surprise, he doesn't. He sniffs my ears and my tail, but then cautiously nuzzles my face.
Aww. Hey, buddy.
Hey! I reach out to try to pet him, but that turns out to be too much and he darts away.
Oh well, it's better than last time.
I move down to the floor with my back against the bed, setting the papers in my lap. They're stapled together at the top, but I'm afraid of tearing or damaging them. Even though I know Aspen could print another copy, there's something special about this one. It's the one she made just for me. Cat Lord Byron, yeah. I forget what she named the other cat, actually. I'll make sure there aren't any other cats around who might cause any issues and then turn to the first page. In the middle of the forest was a grove, and in the middle of the grove was a log. It had been years since it had fallen, once one of the proudest trees around, and now when death was home to an abundance of life. It takes me a long time, probably longer than it should, to read through, but it's not just my slow pace with the words. It's also the memories that they call to mind. I can picture exactly what the log looks like. If I close my eyes, I can smell the damp grass and feel the breeze on my fur. Seeing Jonghyun's words written out brings a lump to my throat. I carried them around in my head for so long before I even understood them. Now, seeing them written down, they'll last forever. Some of the details are different from reality, and of course, Aspen's book doesn't use any names, but it's still my story. Like when I first met Aspen, I told her I didn't have any story to tell. Now, reading it back to myself, I can kind of see why she found it so interesting. Maybe there's always been more to it than I thought. More to me than I thought. Eventually, Aspen emerges from the restroom, her hair still wet. Spotting the papers in my hand, she approaches me with a smile.
Hey, no dripping!
Oops, good save.
I can't let my favorite book get ruined after all.
Favorite book?
Yeah, I loved it. I really loved it.
After putting the papers on the nightstand where they'll be safe, I stand up so that I can give Aspen a hug.
I'm so glad. That makes it all worth it. I was worried I might get something wrong or forget an important part, but...
I cut her off by tapping a finger to her lips.
It was perfect.
Kissing my finger, Aspen smiles.
It's what you deserve.
Ooh! Aspen goes to dry her hair and then bustles around finishing up her chores before returning to my side. Leaning against me, she yawns.
You should go take a nap.
Even without the yawning, it's clear that she needs rest and hasn't been getting much.
I can't nap. You're here. Besides, I haven't done any of my writing for the day.
Wouldn't you write better if you're not tired?
I haven't been not tired for years.
Ooh.
And what about you?
Have I been getting enough rest? I mean, I napped earlier. I was in a food coma for a few hours.
What about me? I'm fine.
But if I'm asleep, then that's less time that I get to spend with you.
We're still together. It'd be the same as if you were writing, right?
You have a point there.
I sit down in a desk chair, blocking off her computer and crossing my arms. Melodramatically sighing, she lays down on the bed but still faces me.
All right, if you insist. But only for half an hour or so. If I ever sleep, you better wake me up before you leave, alright?
Sure.
Okay.
I have zero intentions of waking her up. She gives me a doubtful eye.
I mean it. No slipping out silently so you can let me sleep, or any nonsense like that.
I won't. I promise.
Removing her glasses and putting them on the nightstand, Aspen offers me one last smile.
Good.
Pulling the blankets up to her shoulders, she rolls over to face the wall. It doesn't even take a minute before I can hear the shifts in her breathing. She's out like a light.
Just like on the phone.
Aww. Half an hour comes and goes while I watch videos on Aspen's computer or reread the book she wrote for me. Of course, she shows no signs of waking up anytime soon. Good. She needs to rest. I won't wake her up, but I won't break my promise either. It's simple. If I can't leave until she gets up, then I just won't go. I entertain myself and time passes by. Byron the cat gets bold enough to try approaching me again, and Percy comes with him too. They sit down in unison near my feet. Percy was the other one's name.
Here, kitties.
Holding out my hand, I stretch my fingers as far as possible. They stare for a moment before one, and then the other gives a curious sniff. Finally, deciding I'm not a threat, they both rub against my lap, letting me scratch their backs. The fur is soft and fluffy like petting a pillow. They go back and forth around each other, suddenly not able to get enough attention. Well, it's not like I don't know how that is. Night falls and even I start to get tired too. Aspen hasn't moved at all other than to toss and turn occasionally. I send a quick message to Julia to tell her where I am and then set my phone down next to Aspen's on her nightstand beside the printed pages. It all feels very normal, but in a good way. The little fox in a grove could have never dreamt of the things she'd see one day. Planes, phones, apartment buildings. All she knew of humans was a kind touch and a piece of paper. In some ways, that little fox never changed. Moving as carefully as I ever did in the middle of a heist, I flick off the lights, half expecting the sudden darkness to disturb Aspen. But she doesn't budge at all. Same goes for when I climb into bed beside her. I wrap my arms around Aspen, draping my tail across us both. Yeah, baby! Woo! She moves slightly and I curse myself silently. I must not have been careful enough. Hi! Stay asleep. No need to get up. Stay asleep. Her voice is less than a whisper. It's barely a breath.
I'm here.
Good.
Within seconds, she's asleep again. Before I myself drift off, there's a soft thump on the bed behind me, and then a second one. Something warm and fuzzy rests against my back, and then again near my legs. Oh, and the cats! Yes! I cry my head to look at the cats. They're both curled up into balls, paws near their faces just like their owner. Aww. Byron stares at me in the dark, probably wondering why I'm looking at him. Deciding he doesn't care, he closes his eyes like Percy and Aspen. Feeling more content than I can ever remember, I shut my eyes as well and drift off into sleep. Aww. I wake up to a sound from hell. It screeches and blares so loud that it hurts. My eyes shoot open in an instant and I sit bolt upright in a place I don't recognize. Where am I? What's going on? Besides me, something moves. I stare at the pulsing lump in the darkness and suddenly remember the answer to one of my questions. I'm so disoriented I forgot I was at Aspen's. She rolls over onto her other side, not reacting to the sound. Instead, she looks confused for other reasons.
Mio?
Hi! I'm not too tongue-tied to know what to say first. Pushing herself up on one arm, Aspen reaches all the way across me and fumbles around until she grabs her phone. As she pulls it past my face, I realize it's the source of the noise. She presses something on the screen and the sound disappears. With a groan, she drops her phone onto the blanket between us.
Time to wake up.
Oh boy. My racing heart begins to slow back down. It was just her alarm clock. Duh. I feel silly for being so panicked, but it really took me by surprise. Oh boy. I'm not sure Aspen even noticed. She rubs her eyes sleepily.
I'm not still dreaming, am I?
No, we just took a giant nap. I shake my head.
I don't think anyone could still be dreaming after that.
Why didn't... I didn't...
Her thoughts stumble off into a yawn and then she tries again.
You were supposed to wake me up.
Yeah,
Only before I left, so I didn't leave.
Even half asleep, she still manages to smile. Rolling onto her back, she looks up at the ceiling with half-lidded eyes.
My day's already been made.
Yay! The two of us are some of the only pedestrians out this early. A few cars and the occasional school bus pass us by, but for the most part, the walk to the library is quiet. When we get there, Juliet's already waiting in the kitchen.
Good morning, you two.
Hi!
Morning.
Hello.
Go ahead and have a seat. The coffee's ready, and breakfast will be soon.
Thank you, Juliet. You're a treasure.
She pours herself a cup of coffee, even though she already had 2 before we left her apartment.
My pleasure.
Jesus
I'm
Christ!
glad to have a reason to cook.
Aspen noses her drink, taking tiny sips while nearly dozing off against my shoulder. Juliet finishes the food while I spread out the dishes across the table.
Thanks, love.
Aww. Aspen mumbles as I set her plate in front of her. Even with the coffee, it seems like she may fall asleep at any moment. I'm not sure she even knows what she said, but I heard her loud and clear. Did they call it a pet name? It feels really good. If Silva was here, I'm sure she'd have a bunch of witty things to say about that. As I finish setting the table, Juliet brings a pot and a couple of plates of food. Breakfast today is oatmeal with some fresh fruit and a waffle with syrup. That seems to get Aspen to perk up a little bit. After we finish eating and clear everything away again, she finally seems properly alert and awake. After another cup of coffee too, of course. I spent so much time with Aspen over the past day that when she stands up to go to work, it takes me by surprise. I'd forgotten she'd have to leave. Once she says goodbye to Juliet, I walk with her to the door. Neither of us want to let go of the other, but eventually Aspen takes her first step outside.
Have a good day at work.
I will. Thank you for yesterday. And today.
Aww.
I slept through most of it. It was nice to wake up beside you.
Yeah. We should do it again sometime.
Absolutely. After this weekend...
She searches for the words.
You'll be able to breathe again.
Exactly.
It seems like she might say more, but then with a small shake of her head, she gives me a goodbye kiss.
Bye, Miho.
See you soon.
I watch Aspen go until she's disappeared from sight. I go back to the kitchen to grab a drink, and I'm surprised to see Juliet still sitting at the table. I'm so used to her going to bed when Aspen leaves.
Now you're gonna be extra tired too.
Echo! Stop! What the fuck? Oh my god. Did the microphone pick that up? Oh, yeah, okay. Oh my, what the fuck? I have no idea. Like, I know what song that is. That was certainly Spotify. That was the last song I listened to on Spotify, but why? What did I say? And why was it so loud? What the fuck? There was the first the Blaze Blue Calamity trigger opening for anyone who's interested. Our Iconoclast from Kanoko, but what the hell? Oh my god, I'm awake now. What? Jesus Christ. I sit down across from her and she chuckles, but there's real concern in her eyes too.
So, I wasn't imagining it. Is she alright?
She's not getting enough rest, that's for sure.
She's...
not getting enough sleep, stressed out, pushing herself too hard.
She's Aspen.
Now Juliet really laughs.
Yes, fair enough. From the moment she told us about that conversation with her editor, I worried that something like this would happen.
Which part? How'd you know?
Julia collects her thoughts before answering.
Before we met you, that book of hers was all Aspen could really think about. Even when we discussed books by other authors, always came back to her own stories. And yet, for all the conversation and all the advice, I couldn't begin to tell you what her book is all about. Could you?
No. I shake my head.
I don't know anything about it either.
I thought not. Do you remember a few weeks ago when she first told us she'd sent in her manuscript?
Yeah. She was going to surprise us with good news, but changed her mind.
Indeed. At first, she didn't want us to know until she had the contract in hand. In other words, until she was sure it's good enough. She feels she has so much to prove, not just to herself, but the world. Chasing perfection that's unattainable. So much of her heart and soul has gone into those pages that I can't help but imagine she takes every rejection personally. As rejection of her, and not just her work. Because in Aspen's eyes, I believe they're one and the same.
She said that this could be her only chance, and that's why she has to take it.
To Aspen, who's only ever seen one pathway forward to the future, I'm sure it seems that way. Even if from the outside, to you and I, that so clearly isn't true.
There's a bunch of other stuff she's good at too, besides writing. Like running a cafe or doing research. Those are things that even I know are useful.
True. Slumping down in my chair, I stare at the small ring of coffee on a table where Aspen's mug used to be.
I wish I could help her. She's done so much for me. But it was all I could do to even get her to sleep.
I'm sure that your presence and care for her helped more than you know. The end, painful or not, it's up to Aspen to learn from her experiences.
Yeah.
After all, it's one thing to know something from reading it in a book or hearing it from someone else. It's quite another to live through and experience something yourself. You and I can't grow for her. We can be there for her. Sometimes, a kind word and the knowledge that we aren't alone can be the support that we need. The strength must come from within ourselves. Whatever choices Aspen is faced with, only she can make them. All we can do is offer our comfort and guidance. And Miha?
I look up from the ground, meeting Juliet's gaze. Although she's not angry or upset, she's unusually serious.
Don't forget to care for yourself too. It's easy to get caught up in the euphoria of love, which isn't a bad thing. But just as you cannot live Aspen's life for her, you cannot live your life solely for her sake either. By all means, love passionately, and deeply, and recklessly. But don't forget to live for yourself too.
Alright. I find myself on the verge of saying I know, but catch myself. Instead I just not, because I also know what Juliet herself has been through to find herself offering that advice. With a smile returning to her face, Juliet's serious demeanor lightens a little.
Well, now that I've prattled on for a while, I do think I'll get some rest of my own.
I managed to smile back.
Sleep tight.
Thank you.
She starts to exit the kitchen, but as she passes me, Juliet pauses and then backtracks a step.
Perhaps it was just the light, but is there something different about your bead?
Oh?
Huh?
I hadn't even looked at my necklace today. I take it off to see what Juliet's talking about. It's still glowing, no more or less brightly than it was yesterday, I think, but turning it over my hands a few times, I notice something. Sure enough, she's right.
It's cracked.
Uh-oh. There's a hairline fracture running across part of my bead. It's so small that at first it looks like an eyelash or a piece of dust. But when I rub my finger over it, I can feel the subtle ridge, as well as a light tingling sensation like my fingertip is falling asleep.
May I see it closer?
I hold out the necklace for her, angling it so she can get as clear a view as possible. Of course I can let go or it would go back around my neck. Juliet starts to reach one hand for it, but then changes her mind, instead just leaning in close to examine. Finally she shakes her head.
Unfortunately, I can't discern anything more than the obvious. Your magic remains foreign to me, like a book in an unknown language.
I can't help but be reminded of the scroll upstairs.
What do you think it could mean?
For a long moment she's quiet. Even before asking, I know the answer.
I don't know. But I don't think it's coincidence or random.
Me either.
I'm sure the frustration in my voice is obvious. It's always questions, and rarely any answers. It's getting harder and harder to push them from my thoughts. Rather than repeat our goodbyes, Juliet places a reassuring hand on my shoulder.
I have faith that when the time is right, you'll know what to do. Trust in yourself. The same way you look at Aspen and don't understand how she undervalues herself. Slow progress is still progress.
I nod and she goes off to bed. Progress. I just wish I knew what it was progressing towards. I don't fucking know either, but let's try and become trees. The rehearsals for the play carry on regularly over the month. We have at least one every week and sometimes more. Although I don't go to every single one of them, I go to lots. Aspen and Juliet are probably more excited about it than I am and always encourage me before I go, even though I've told them several times that I'm not really participating that much. Out of the entire cast, there's definitely no one who works as hard as Lena and Cyrus do. Not only do those two have the most lines, but they have the most energy too. Considering how quiet Cyrus is when he's not acting, watching and hearing him perform with so much emotion is like seeing a whole new person. Even though the play isn't until December, more than a month away, neither of them ever slack off. When I'm there, I sometimes help out with things like organizing the props or handing out refreshments. The actual performance will be on a real stage, but we haven't been able to use one for practice yet. Sometimes I do have to perform my parts, which mostly means standing still in my costume, but sometimes having to move around. I'm not totally sure why they don't just use fake trees, but it's okay. Although I wasn't exactly looking forward to being a part of this at first, the more time I spend at rehearsals, the more fun I have. Even though I have to meet most of the cast every time, they're all pretty friendly and easy to get along with. And even I can see the improvement that happens every week. Everyone is getting better, not just Lena and Cyrus. Occasionally, other people in the park will stop by to watch for a bit, and they always clap or cheer when we're done or when they leave. Overall, the play is a nice distraction from the worries of my everyday life. It's nice to have one thing that I don't have to stress about. There's still a long way to go, but I know that just means we'll improve even more before the real thing. Surprising even myself, I'm looking forward to showing everyone just how hard we've been working. Aww. That's sweet. No, but... Okay. It's late and the moon is high in the sky when there's suddenly a knock at my window. At the window? I burst up from my spot on the floor where I'd been dozing.
What the...
In the darkness, it takes a moment for me to discern the face behind the glass. When I do, it turns out to be the last person I'd expect.
Silver?
I pull the window open to where Silver's perched on a branch of a nearby tree.
What are... How did...
Why not just use the door? Come outside. I would speak with you.
Ignoring my questions, like always, Silver stands up. I catch the corner of a cocky smile before she leaps from the branch, plummeting towards the ground below.
Hey!
Touching the windowsill, I jam my head out the window, expecting to see her crumble on the grass. Instead, I'm just in time to watch her nimbly land on her feet and transform before running off into the darkness behind the library. With no time to wait or even think about it, I follow after her. Of course, I take the stairs and go out the front door first. I like that they felt the need to actually mention that though. Because otherwise I would have went, you jumped out the window? I transform right away and wrap around the building, expecting to have to chase after Silver even though she came here. Instead, she hasn't gone far at all. Just beyond the edge of the yard, she stands in her human form and stares out to the city below us. Many windows are dark, but many are illuminated too. The streetlights and lamps stand lit, even with no one to use them. A warm yellow glow pushes away the darkness at the edges of town. Changing forms back as well, I walk over to stand beside her. It is the small details, yeah. Without looking at me, Silver extends an arm in front of her, as if reaching for the city. It's a wrist with her bracelet on it, and her bead shines in the dark like another street lamp. Unhooking my necklace, I hold it out alongside hers. The glow of my bead is about as bright as hers. Scoffing, Silver lowers her arm and I put my necklace back on. I wait for her to start talking instead of saying anything myself. I find myself doing this a lot with Aspen and Juliet as well, although here it's different. Not only was Silver the one who came to me, but anything I say would probably be ignored anyway. Sure enough, it isn't long before she twirls around to point a finger in my face.
Listen up, because I'm only going to tell you this once.
Okay. That's one more time than I usually get. I just nod, signaling for her to continue.
I simply couldn't watch you continue to wallow in ignorance.
Okay.
Whereas your magic causes those you encounter to forget about you, mine assists me in a different way. It tells me the truth of things, of people, human and fabled alike.
How do you mean?
To my eyes, their emotions are as colors. Fear, like everything else, has its own glow. I've seen it ignite in my presence, at my command. In this way, I have survived. The betrayal of their hearts is twofold. They reveal unseen feelings that they try to mask with words. And the hearts of men are fickle besides. I've seen boredom turn to cruelty, fear become hatred. This is what I see, and you do not. The truth that lies behind all promises and pretenses. Today's friends are tomorrow's bitter foes. You should know all this. I know what it's like to be one of us. I know what you've lived through. And yet, even now...
She cuts herself off and scoffs. Or maybe it's her choking something back.
What color is mine right now?
To give her an out, I ask a question instead. Her eyes narrow, but with concentration, not irritation. As I stand there, I match her gaze. This is the first time we've really spoken normally, instead of her trying to pick a fight or hide from me. She's the first to look away, speaking to the ground.
The color of young spring. It's difficult to read the aura of our kind, requiring my concentration and focus. Even then, it's but a pale glow. With humans and most others, they cannot hide their light from me if they wanted to.
Like why you don't forget about me, right? Even though everyone else does.
She nods. I want to know what the color means to her. I also want to know why she's choosing to just tell me this after dodging everything else I've ever asked her. I'm sure she wouldn't tell me if I tried. But there's something else that I do have to ask because I'm pretty sure I already know the answer.
Have you ever told anyone else?
Staring at the ground, it takes a long time before Silver shakes her head.
Thought so.
I don't think Silver's quite as old as I am, but she still spent decades on her own, if not longer, just like me. In all that time, any chances I might have had to do something different or change something, I just let pass me by. I never had any idea what I might be missing. Besides me, Silver just her masks and shifts her way to a good black. She's about to transform and probably run away. She had to have some reason for bringing me out here, right? Was she hoping that I'd be the one to extend a hand? I think she'd get along with Aspen and Juliet once she had some time to warm up to them. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be having this conversation with her right now. Before she can change, I suddenly reach over and put my hand on Silver's shoulder. She stiffens and goes tense beneath my fingers, pulling away inconceivably fast. Facing me from a few meters away, I don't need to be able to read auras to detect the anger emanating from her.
I'm sorry.
Damn it, that was dumb even for me. I hold up my hands trying to show that I won't do it again.
I just...
Just what? Wanted to help her? Saying that would definitely make her hate me. Instead, I clench my jaw shut before I can make things worse. For a moment, her face softens and she looks torn. She dispels that by shaking her head.
We're even now.
What? Within seconds, she's a fox, and then she's part of the night, vanished into the darkness. This time, I don't even think about chasing her. I would have gotten upset too if one of my friends had done that to me early on too, but I don't think she'll hold it against me, at least not any more than the rest of my existence. After all, I realized way too late, her coming here in the first place was already her reaching out. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that you can't rush these things.
I'm sorry. I hope I'll see you again soon.
I don't yell, but I don't whisper either. I'm pretty sure that she's still close enough to be able to hear me. I've done about as much as I can. The rest is up to her. What the heck? The first thing out of my mouth when I wake up is a sigh. Outside my window lurks a murky grey morning, which feels like an omen. It's chilly and I'm tempted to stay under the warm covers, but I force myself up and go get ready. I force myself up and to get ready, and then go to breakfast. There we go. Julian and I chit-chat as we wait for Aspen to arrive, but she never does. By the time we finish eating, it seems pretty clear that Aspen won't be showing up.
She must still be asleep.
Just like the morning that Chella and her friends left, I'm guessing that Aspen's overslept. After Silver ran away last night, I was also kept awake with my thoughts for a while. I figured I'd be the last one to get to the kitchen. Aspen still has me beat though. I try calling her, but it goes to voicemail. As soon as I hang up the phone, I return to my room. I put on my shoes and then leave the library, waving at Juliet when I pass by the dining room again. I'm sure she knew what I was going to do as soon as I did. I'm not too worried about Aspen, at least not any more than usual, but I have a feeling she could use the support right now. I knock on Aspen's door and wait. Silence. I knock again and wait. I knock a third time, harder. Finally I hear a sleepy voice from inside.
I'm coming.
Hi Jane, good evening! When the door finally opens, I'm relieved to see Aspen is alright, or at least upright and unharmed. Oh, do you have a fever? She definitely isn't doing great though. Her hair's a mess and she still has a blanket wrapped around her. As she stares at me, blinking in the morning sun, she groans and holds a hand to her head.
Miho?
You're here for comfy VN time, yeah!
God, what time? Ugh, come in.
Oh, you are sick. I step inside gingerly, shutting the door behind myself. Inside it's dark with the curtains drawn and all the lights off. Aspen immediately returns to her bed and lays down with another groan. As I walk towards the bed, my foot bumps against something on the floor. At first I'm afraid it's one of the cats, but when I look down I see it's actually an empty can. It rolls under the bed all the same. In fact, there are a few of the empty cans around. I pick one up because I don't recognize the label and can immediately identify it by the smell as beer. Oh no. I've never had any alcohol, but I know enough about it just from TV and my travels. I sit down on the bed beside Aspen, who's covered her face with a stuffed animal. Still, she manages to blindly fumble around with one hand until she finds and holds mine.
I'm late for breakfast, aren't I?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I came to make sure you're okay.
Mio looks very cute. Yes! She's adorable. She makes a sound that could be pain or just acknowledgement.
Sorry, you should have called. You didn't
I
have
did
to
call.
walk all the way here.
I tried.
Her other hand appears in the darkness, also fumbling around until she finds her phone, which is under a pillow just like her.
Oops. I'm sorry. I slept right through it.
You're red. Looking around her room, I notice more than just the beer cans. Her laptop's on the floor, half closed. Notebooks and papers are scattered around the room, not just on her desk, but everywhere. Last time I was here, her apartment was messy. Today's a disaster.
It's okay. No big deal. I'm more worried about you than anything.
I'm fine. I'm fine. The only problem is I slept in so damn late. I was planning to call out of work anyway. I need the extra time to finish my edits. And I may have had a bit too much to drink last night, which I'm really paying for now.
So you're red because of the alcohol?
I don't think you
I don't think you stay that red after already sleeping it off. Gently I lift the plushie away from Aspen's face.
No!
Although she groans and makes grabby hands at it, she doesn't really try to stop me. Instead, she looks up at me with red eyes and manages to smile. Gesturing for me to come closer, I lean down and Aspen pulls me in to kiss her. Her hand lingers on my cheek when I sit back up.
What if I said I was fine now?
You're not!
I still wouldn't believe you.
Worth a try. Although she pretends to pout, Aspen doesn't try to deny it again. Since she's not in any shape to sit up, I lie down next to her instead. I can't help but notice the makeup stains on her pillow.
This is 2 days in a row now that I've gotten to wake up next to you. More or less. That's something good at least.
You missed out on breakfast today, though.
I'll take that trade.
Yeah. She closes her eyes, yawning. Oh,
But that's also 2 days in a row that I've overslept. I'd actually meant to get a nice start today and work on
Hi,
my book
TK,
a bit
good evening.
before going up to the library.
You were gonna get up early? When did you go to bed?
Aspen and I had already said goodnight to each other before Silver showed up at my window, and that was somewhere around midnight.
I don't remember. It's a little fuzzy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the final stretch, though.
Mm-hmm.
I can afford to sacrifice a little sleep.
You've been sacrificing a little sleep for months. Not months, but like for close to a month now.
Maybe if it was just sleep.
You know that it's up
And
over
just
time,
a
right?
little.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? Even Juliet can tell how exhausted you are all the time.
Even Juliet, hmm? Besides, it's only a couple more days. I have to finish and send it in by the end of Sunday, and then...
And then?
Then... everything can go back to normal. Like my sleep schedule. Then it'll be out of my hands and someone else's problem.
They are gonna fight, yeah. I can smell it. They're gonna start fighting any moment now because Miho's gonna tell that she needs to take better care of herself, and Aspen's gonna be like, this is my only chance at this book, and I need to get this done because, like, it's not gonna go back to normal. If this is what she has to do every time they want her to edit stuff, I mean, okay, sure, it's the first time she's editing a book, but it's not gonna go back to normal after this. Like, oh, she's gonna send in her revised version. They're gonna still find stuff that is not right.
It's gonna be that easy? You'll just never have to think about your book again.
Well, no, of course, not like that. I hope not, at least. Unless the changes still aren't what they're looking for. But I don't even want to consider that. Oh God, I do not want to consider that. There'll be more work to do, of course. More writing and more editing. Hopefully not as much editing. I struggled a lot this time around because it was so different from the original manuscript and not the kind of thing I usually write.
I'm not saying that edits are necessarily wrong, but is it even still the book you want to publish if it's so different from your original manuscript?
But once I got the hang of it, it started being easier. So I think next time around shouldn't be as difficult because I already know what they're looking for.
She has to stop and take a deep breath to continue talking.
That's not counting all the other stuff like paperwork and promotion and all that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, rights and licensing too. That's another thing to think about, but later.
Girl, you're spiraling.
The first time I do all that might be tough, but it should also get easier, just like the editing. I've done a lot of research and...
Aspen.
It does make sense, given what the best-selling trends have been lately. Usually I'm more into...
Aspen!
With a tiny hic, she cuts off mid-sentence.
Okay, I know that sounds like a lot.
Stop talking!
Aspen, you can't keep doing this to yourself.
I don't like interrupting her, but I know where this is going. At my words, she does stop and gazes up at the ceiling before speaking in a very small voice.
What else can I do, though? I know how hard it is to understand from the outside, but that's what it's like to be an artist.
You should not have your general health and sleep suffer for the sake of being an artist.
Opportunity rarely knocks twice, as they say.
I know I'm not one to talk, but
a chance like this, if ever.
Seeing other people like not take care of themselves properly is like, oh,
some things are worth
don't do that.
persevering through. So what if I have to call out of work a couple times or miss some sleep? That won't matter in the long run. When there's a line of people waiting for a midnight release at the bookstore or posting fan fiction online, someday I'll forget all the bad stuff that happened or even look back and laugh. Someday it'll be worth it.
Someday?
She nods.
But who cares about someday when you're miserable now, love?
It feels strange to call her that, but also right. Just like when she said it to me, and it seems like it works. I hear a breath catch in her throat, and even as she turns to face me again, I can see the glimmer of tears in her eyes. More than ever, I wish I knew what to say that could help her. If Juliet was here, I'm sure she'd have some great advice to offer. It's hard for me to understand what it is she's going through. On the other hand, it's really easy to see how it's affecting her.
I know, I'm the last person who should tell someone how to spend their time. But it can't be worth feeling like this all the time, just so maybe someday it'll be better, right? Even if I don't know anything about writing or books or any of that, all of those next steps you talked about sound just as bad. You used to be so excited about your book. But now it just makes you sad all the time. If it would really get better after this weekend, that'd be one thing, but it wouldn't, would it?
Aspen slowly shakes her head. Tears silently roll down her face onto her pillow and hair. I scoot closer so that our foreheads are touching. Even then, I can barely hear her as she whispers.
I know that you're right and it won't get easier, but I'm right too. All those things I said about maybe not getting another chance, or about how it's never easy for anyone, they're true as well. I wish it wasn't. I wish this wasn't my only choice because it's not even mine anymore. It's not my story or characters, it's something else. And I don't know what else to do. If my original story was any good, it wouldn't have been rejected so many times, or needed so many changes. And they're not bad changes either, they make sense, they're just not mine.
Are you really okay with that?
For all of about 2 seconds, she holds my gaze. Then Aspen truly bursts into tears. It might be her most honest answer yet. Her whole body shakes as she cries, and I do what I can to hold her. The two cats hop up onto the bed, concerned and investigating. The corners of my eyes burn too, not for myself but for Aspen and for the helplessness I feel. But also, I recall what Juliet said, that this is something Aspen has to go through herself.
I don't know if I am. I don't know. I thought I was. Kept telling myself I was, but...
It's hard for her to speak in between sniffles and sobs. I just let her cry against me, doing what I can do. Be there for her. She doesn't need to finish her sentence anyway. We both already know the answer. Sometimes the right thing gets rejected a bazillion times before it finds somewhere that recognizes how great it is. That's... Yeah, you're right. You're right. I know it. Like, obviously, getting rejected all the time for something she put her entire heart and being into has to sting. But having to change it this extremely? Like, we don't know what the original story was, but it seems like she has to edit a lot of stuff. Like, not just, you know, making just parts of the story flow a little better, but just like outright so it's not even her characters anymore. That's not your book. I assure you there's going to be someone out there who wants the story like you want to tell it. And just want to bring it out in a way that makes it, I don't know, more accessible. Loses the meaning to the author, then it's not a story worth telling for the author. Yeah, I get it. I stroke her hair and try to think of how to piece together what I want to say to her. It's tough, because I know I don't have anything that would be helpful or might solve a problem. All I can do is be honest.
I don't know the difference between good and bad writing, of course. I've only ever read one book, but I still really like that book. Enough to read it again and again yesterday. And the only reason I could even do that is because you and Juliet seem to like books so much that I had to try them too. Spending hours hunched over that desk, copying those letters a million times. I wouldn't have done that for just anyone, you know? I'm glad I did, though. It was worth it just to be able to read The Fox in the Grove, even though I already knew the story. That was something I never understood before. Why anyone would want to read a book more than once. You already know what's going to happen. But because it makes me think of you, and that you wrote it just for me to be able to read, I don't think I'll ever be able to like a book more.
Wiping her eyes, she manages a shaky sigh that might be a laugh.
Well,
aww. Oh, they're not fighting. The sobs have gone back to being sniffles and hiccups, and she's slowly able to catch her breath. The pillow that we share is soaked with her tears, but I barely notice. Two cats are still nearby, and she scoops them up and pulls them towards her as well.
You guys are worried too, huh?
They both meow and protest as Aspen brings them into our hug. There isn't really room, but Aspen manages to squeeze them in. They immediately hop away though, and she doesn't try to stop them.
Not too worried, I see.
We snuggle for a bit longer, and then for the first time since she got into bed, Aspen sits back up and rubs her eyes. I sit up too, and she casually leans against me. She looks around. It's a lot brighter now than it was when I got here, even through the curtains.
It is a bit of a mess here, isn't it?
A little bit. Yeah.
Aspen reaches down and picks up one of the empty beer cans, examining it before tossing it into the recycling bin.
Tasted awful anyways.
I didn't even know you like beer.
I don't.
I don't.
Another can is on Aspen's nightstand. She chucks that into the bin as well before gathering some of the scattered papers around the apartment. I help clean, throwing away anything that looks like trash and organizing anything that doesn't. Aspen takes care of all that, replacing her laptop on her desk and tidying some of the clutter. Finally, she opens the curtains and we sit back down. I wait for her to say something since there still hasn't been any resolution. I don't have to wait very long.
I'm going to send an email to Avery and tell them I've changed my mind. And then I'm not interested in making the changes they wanted.
Yeah!
Wait, you've already decided that?
I'm happy to hear your decision, but I wasn't expecting it to come this fast.
I have to give them an answer soon, one way or another. To be honest, I was already thinking about it, and have been for days. In my heart, I think it's what I've wanted to say this whole time. But I kept telling myself that I should just try a little harder and power through. I could probably do that if I put my mind to it. But there was something you said earlier. And as soon as you said it, I knew you were right, because it was something I was trying not to admit to myself. That somewhere along the way, something I love had turned into something I dread. I pictured myself continuing down that path. If I lost that love forever, would it be worth it? It might be. It might not.
Ouch, Jesus Christ.
There's no telling how it would go. But you're right that I have something to live for right now. And someone to love. And so I think maybe that much is enough. More than enough, even.
Aspen leans in and I do too, closing my eyes in anticipation. The relief that floods through me as I hear Aspen's words is like a glass of water after a long run. Pausing just inches from my lips, Aspen whispers just one more thing before we kiss.
I have everything I need right here.
The two of us linger around Aspen's apartment for a while longer. I play with the cats while Aspen collects herself and eventually manages to send off her email. Wah! Good on you. Good for you. Good for you. I'm gonna have to stop you right there though. But, you know, yeah, no fighting. And she managed to do that, and we managed to read that today. That's good. Thank you for the pet. How far along are we? This. I would like to go to the title. Yes.
Already?
57!
Okay, let me grab my keys.
We started at 41%. And now we're at 57%. I have no idea how far along that actually is. There's at least 2 more big choices somewhere along her route that determine the ending, apparently. But there's a bunch of smaller choices in between as well, so I honestly have no clue. You don't want this to end? It's gonna have to at some point, though. It's gonna have to end at some point. But yeah, it's so nice. Thank you for a nice stream, though. Thank you for coming. I'm so glad. I say this every time we play the game, but it's such a lovely game. I'm so glad I chose to play it. Nice stream, Noah. Thank you. Thank you for coming by as well. And it's gonna be the end for tonight, though. We ended on a nice note. That's good. I'm gonna post a schedule in a bit, but it's gonna be the exact same as this week, except we should actually be able to make the Saturday stream, because I don't think I forgot about any other happenings next weekend. Talk about ending at the perfect time, right? It's time for you to head out. Okay, thank you for coming by. Hope you all have a great night as well. I'm gonna send you guys over to something completely different, because Vani is playing Devil May Cry 5, which you know has quite some different vibes to this game, but I think that's still gonna be enjoyable, because that's a game you're never gonna see me play. As much as I'm interested in the characters from Devil May Cry, that's not something I'm willing to find out myself, because I know I would be bad at it. Not even in a, oh, I could improve, but just in a, I would be bad at that. I'm not even gonna try. Thank you so much for coming by tonight. See you very soon. Gonna do more Please Be Happy on Wednesday. But for now, I wish you all a very, very good night. Sleep tight. And bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.